Hello, dear ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Cascais. Welcome to our event, empowering athletes to find their voice in transition beyond sports. My name is Shirin Amin, and I'm truly honored to be host of this event today. I represent the international sports organization, Champions Factory, and today, as part of the Athlete Speakers Project, I will guide us through a dynamic program with lots of guest speakers, panel discussions, and very empowering personal stories. Professional sports often serve as a trampoline for athletes to transform into role models, but only if they use it smartly. The Project Athlete Speakers emphasizes the vital role of communication skills that athletes need and to support them throughout their professional transition. With this project, we aim to help athletes increase their employability opportunities through developing very strong communication skills. Athlete Speakers is brought to life and brought to reality by the fast-growing Portuguese-based sports organization, Sport Evolution Alliance. In less than 4 years from their establishment, Sport Evolution Alliance team has managed to cooperate with more than 100 organizations throughout the whole world. They work globally. And they support a lot of universities, a lot of Olympic committees, Paralympic committees, sports clubs, sports organizations to achieve their goals. And to officially open and kick off this seminar, I would like to invite the president of Sport Evolution Alliance, Rui Vieira. Please, let's give applause to Rui.
Thank you very much, Shirin. Good afternoon, everyone. So it's a great pleasure to welcome you here, all. Welcome here in Portugal to all organizations. Welcome in Cascais, and welcome everyone in the Athlete Speakers Final Conference. This event, it's about celebrating the voices and stories of athletes. The athletes' focus it's on the supporting of they transitioned from the sporting careers to the new opportunities. I hope that you find inspiration, new ideas, and a deeper appreciation on these athletes as speakers. Let's make this conference truly inspiring and a productive experience to everyone. Let's get started. Thank you very much for your presence.
Thank you so much, Rui. And as he has mentioned, Athlete Speakers is a really long and complex project that has achieved a lot. And to present us with a little bit more information about the project, there is no better person than someone who has been inspiring athletes to share their stories in a very impactful way. Representing the Olympic Committee of North Macedonia, I would like to invite Silvia Mitevska. Please applaud Silvia.
You hear me? Oops. Yep, sorry. Thank you, Shirin. Good day from me as well. It's always a pleasure to be back to the beautiful city of Cascais. Thank you to the Sport Evolution Alliance and to Pedro and Rui for organizing such a beautiful event. And thank you to all the partner organizations with whom we have collaborated for the past 2 years. So today we are all here to highlight the critical role that communication skills play in the growth and success of athletes. So therefore, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Please raise your hand if you identify or if you agree with some of the questions. The first question, have you ever felt fear or anxiety about public speaking? Have you ever intended to convey your message effectively, but ended up using sentences too long that you lost the attention of your audience? Have you ever avoided to share your thoughts because you felt uncomfortable of speaking up or addressing a group? And do you ever had the fear of judgment that has held you back from expressing yourself freely? And are you curious to know more about all the strategies on how to overcome these barriers? Well, you are all in the right place. Please enjoy the event.
Thank you so much, Silvia. Having said that, and all of the questions asked, I think it is time to pass a little bit information about Cascais, because for many of us, this is the first time visiting this beautiful place. I have been personally here before, and I think that apart from being a very cute, hospitable and romantic city, there is a lot going on for promotion of sustainable sport events. And to tell us more, I would like to introduce you to the Sport Councillor of Cascais, Mr. Francisco Crei.
Thank you, Irina. I'm not going to give a lot of information about Cascais. I'm just here to say welcome to Cascais. On behalf of the municipality of Cascais, on behalf of our mayor, it's been a pleasure to be a partner of Sports Evolution Alliance. I lost the count how many conferences and how long this is partnership, but I count at least for a few years. And it's an honor to be such important and have such an important strategic partner like Sports Evolution Alliance. And they are responsible to bring such important subjects for our community, for our municipality, but essential and principal for sports. They bring so much knowledge, so much initiative that sports needs so much that we are very happy with this partnership. Just to talk a little bit about Cascais. Cascais is a place where 80% of the nationalities, world's nationalities, they live in Cascais. It's more than 140 nationalities that choose Cascais to live. So we always like to say that in Cascais, we don't have religions, we don't have origins, we don't ask for the people where they are from. Everybody is part of the Cascais community. We build a community counting with everybody. We did, it's related with our history. If we consider the First and the Second World War, if we consider the Afghanistan, if we consider the Syria or Ukraine, Cascais, it was a safe place for all the people that seeking security and a place and a security place to live. That's why we had I'm going to talk about two very important events that Cascais host on the last month. I'm not going to talk about last year or on the last 50 years. Just to give you an example, we received one of the most important meetings about Olympic sports. In Cascais, 3 weeks ago, all the Olympic committees from 204 countries came to Cascais to have the big General Assembly of FANOC, the national committees of all over the country. And yesterday just finished the meeting, a very important meeting from United Nations that reunited all the countries here in Cascais. So, in my opinion, there is no better place to organize this kind of conference. Everybody is welcome to Cascais, and I just want to enjoy and say congratulations one more time for Sports Evolution Alliance. Just to give a word for Pedro Dias. I met Pedro Dias on university, and he is a very good example how we can think about transition after a sports career, Pedro is a very good ambassador of this message for everything that he's doing for sports. And sports is a very important sector in Cascais. We breathe sports. We have more than 25,000 athletes in our community from all kinds of sports. We had few Olympic athletes from Cascais representing Portugal in Paris 3 months ago in August. So we breathe sports, we live sports, so everybody is welcome to Cascais. Thank you so much and have a good conference. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the beautiful presentation of Cascais and your work here in the municipality. And as Mr. Kreisch has already shared some information about Pedro Diaz, I would like to introduce him because he will be the speaker, the first keynote speaker of the event. You have shared a lot of information about his transition into sports and how he has been contributing to Cascais development and Portugal development and innovations and a lot of evolutionary ideas and programs, but he will present us the program and the speech, how communication opened doors for post-career transition. Pedro is a very good friend of mine, but I wanted to put all of his biography into one sentence, but it is so difficult because it is so colorful. He's an Olympic judoka who competed in Beijing 2008, and he created the project Athlete Speakers in 2020. It was his big passion to create this project because he believed in the power and abilities of athletes to transform and to transmit what they believe in. At the moment, Pedro is giving his impact to the world of sports through his work at the International Olympic Committee. And he's here with us today to share his perspective on how mastering public speaking and communication skills has opened doors to new opportunities. Please, huge applause to Pedro Diaz.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Thank you, Francisco, for your kind words. Well, as it was mentioned, my name is Pedro Dias. I'm 42 years old. I'm from Portugal. And when I was 6 years old, my mother, she wanted to do judo when she was little. But back at the time, my great-grandmother, she said, no, judo is for boys. You will do ballet, okay? So she didn't have the opportunity. So what happened is that when I went to school and there was judo, she said, okay, now my son will fulfill my dream. So I started doing judo, and judo was fun, you know. We had a lot of games, I had a lot of time, and I was going to competitions and so on, but well, like every kid in Portugal, what we really like is to play football. So I was playing football in the street with my friends and doing judo. But there was one day, I was already 14 years old, and I have this memory in my mind. My mother was in the kitchen cooking, and I was watching the Olympic Games in Atlanta. And suddenly, I was looking, and I was thinking, wow, this Olympic Games, it's a cool thing. Because the Olympic Games is most probably one of the only events that you can be there by your merit. It's not because you're rich or poor. It's not because you're white or black. It's not because you're skinny or fat. It's because you're one of the best in the world. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to go to the Olympics. So my mother, she was cooking, and I went to her and said, Mom, you know what? And she said, well, what? I'm going to the Olympics. And she said, okay, good for you. Now put the table, please. So from that moment, I told everybody, you know what? I'm going to the Olympic Games. And you know what was the reaction? Everybody mocked on me. So nobody believed that I could fulfill this dream. So this gave me more energy. I said to myself, I will prove that everybody is wrong. I will prove that I have the capacity to reach this objective. So for many years, I devoted my entire life, it was 12 years in total, I devoted my entire life with this specific dream. Meanwhile, my parents, they were worried about me, of course. So they're like, Pedro, come on, you need to study. And I'm like, God, okay, I'm studying, but I was not such a good student. And back at the time, nobody was talking about dual career. People, they didn't even knew what was that. okay? So in my club, my coach never asked me how I was at school. In my federation, they never asked me what were my plans. In the Olympic committee, nobody cared. So in my mind, it was like, if nobody cared, why are my parents all the time blah, 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 blah? So I didn't pay much attention on this. So I managed to fulfill my dream. I went to the Olympic Games. And the moment that I did my last fight, well, I lost it. I was 9th place. I start crying. I start crying a lot. And people thought, oh, the guy lost and he's crying. No, I was crying because I didn't know what to do next. For 12 years, my life was completely focused in one objective, and suddenly that objective was no longer there, okay? So this is when I decided, okay, I need to do something. So I made some pressure in the federation, and I went to the newspaper saying, okay, if I don't have the support from the federation or the Olympic Committee to make available to study and to do my sport career, I will quit. So my idea was to make some pressure, and the authorities, they will do something about it. You know what was the answer? The president of the federation, they went to the news and he said, well, if Pedro wants to quit, another one will come after him. So suddenly, I felt like a nobody. Then I understood that I had to had a plan. So I said, okay, I devoted my life to be in the Olympic Games, so I had to give my best. I will now have to give my best to have a new life. This is when I met Francisco. I registered in the university. I was very competitive. I wanted to be the best student. Francisco was always in my groups, always. And, but it was very hard period, because when we are athletes, everybody wants to take pictures with us, everybody's saying how great you are, and so on and so on. And suddenly, I was having 2 or 3 jobs a day to earn some money. At night, I was going to university. I was completely exhausted, and my head was empty. I got into depression. And for 3 years, I struggled really hard to fight against this depression. Fortunately, I managed to finish the course. Everything was okay. I felt better. And I decided that at that moment, I would work for athletes not to feel and not to pass the same things that I have passed, okay? Well, after that, I decided to go to Brazil. Portugal was in a big economical crisis. I went to Brazil. I started with some volunteering actions with poor kids. It was very successful. Then I started with a sport events company, also very good. But after 7 years in Brazil, I said, okay, it's good enough. I want to return to Portugal. Well, and after I returned to Portugal, with education, with experience, and being an Olympian, I thought, okay, the doors will open to me. So I don't think I will have a big problem to get a new job, opportunities. And I couldn't be more wrong. All the doors that I knock, all the doors that were closed. Nobody, absolutely nobody gave me an opportunity, not even to clean the floor of a sport club. So once again, I had to do, okay, I need a plan. So the plan is that I'm going to invest so much in my education that I will do my own path. I don't need nobody to open the doors for me. I will just throw them down, okay? So what happened, I started with this, with a program called Athlete Speakers, exactly the same name of this program. It was a program developed by Carla Rocha with the Portuguese Olympic Committee. So I went to the program. This helped me a lot. But I said, okay, I think the program is okay, but we are missing something. I want more content. This would be nice to be it online. So because athletes have a busy schedule. So this was in my mind, this program. After that, I invested a lot going to programs from the International Olympic Committee. I went to programs, memos. I did so many things. And suddenly, I started to grow. I started to gain respect. And at a certain moment, I started to get involved with European projects, with many of the partners who are here. And I phoned Shirin, and I said, Shirin, you know, I have 0 experience writing projects, but I have one dream. is that athletes don't have to pass the same thing that I did in the past. I want to write this project. What do you think? And she said, well, I think it's a good idea, but you need to work a lot. It's still a lot to develop, okay? So for 4 years, I worked in this project, 4 years, okay? And it took 4 years for the project to be approved. And here we are today celebrating this project. But meanwhile, while the project was approved, I applied to work in the International Olympic Committee. And many people tell me, but why did you apply? At the time, I was already with my organization, Sport Evolution Alliance, with my colleagues who are here also. We have been very successful. I was earning a lot of money, but nevertheless, I applied to the Olympic Committee. And I applied because I needed to prove to myself that I was not that bad. Because all these years, exactly when I was an athlete, the same thing, people were saying, you will not make it. And I wanted to prove them they were wrong. So eventually, the IOC hired me. I was not going to accept, but another good friend who is here, Marcos, he told me, Pedro, it was always your dream to be on the top. The IOC is the top, so take it. It's not about money. I didn't went to the Olympics because of money. I went to the Olympics because it was my dream. So again, I went to and I'm still working in the International Olympic Committee, but I would like to give this message to everybody who is here. First, don't let people to tell you what you can or what you cannot do, okay? Second, if you're an athlete, yes, you gain a lot of skills during your career, but your skills, it's not enough. You need to add value to those skills, okay? And this is why communication is one very important skill. Today, my job is to communicate. My job is daily to talk to people. My job is daily to advocate, to convince people, to communicate. So I'm very glad that this project is reaching an end. I'm very glad with the deliverables that the consortium managed to achieve. And thank you very much, all of you, for being here, for listening to me, and I hope I was somehow inspiring you for the future. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Such an inspiring story, right? Thank you very much, Pedro, for sharing all of your story with us. Later on, the cocktail, we will be having a chance to discuss between one another many questions. If you have some burning questions now to Pedro, or later on we can postpone them for a little bit later. Okay, good. And now, having passed this wonderful speech, we're passing to the first panel discussion. That is on the topic empowering athletes, shaping leadership, soft skills, and digital futures. The panel moderator is 12-time Shokukai Karate World Champion, 12 times, and the first Portuguese athlete to achieve a medal in the combat competitions in European Championships. Beyond his sports success and accomplishments, he is a sport journalist and manager of international projects at the Sports Evolution Alliance. Please, huge applause to Mr. Nuno Dias.
Thank you, Shirin, for the wonderful presentation. So, I'm Nuno Dias, and I want to start by saying that I was born here in Cascais, so it's always a pleasure for me to be here. I represented the club here in Cascais for 20 years in competition, so I feel really at home. Regarding the panel, one of the invited persons could not attend because he got injured. His name is Alexandre Mestre. He's a former Secretary of Youth of Sport, he's a lawyer, and now he's running for the presidency of the Olympic Committee. But because he could not be present, he left us with a message that we can see in a few seconds. So please give a virtual welcome to Mr. Alexandre Mestre.
Hope you are all fine in Cascais, very beautiful city. Unfortunately, it will be impossible for me to be with you in person due to health problems. But I would like to thank this opportunity, even at a distance mode, to present a brief speech regarding the topic that was suggested by the organization, Athletes at the Heart of the Sport Movement. And talking about the organization, of course, I would like to thank Sport Evolution Alliance and Sports Embassy for this tremendous honor to be with you. Congratulate for the organization of this event with very challenging topics, very important topics for the future of sport. And if you allow me, of course, to give a special word to my good friend Pedro Dias, who invited me to share my views with you. So the topic, athletes at the heart of the sport movement. And let me start, please allow me to focus my presentation on the Olympic movement in particular. I would like to start by quoting the current IOC president, former athlete, Thomas Bach. In 1982, he said that athletes are at the center of the Olympic events and of the Olympic movement. It is only thanks to the athletes that the Olympic aims of understanding, friendship, peace, and non-discrimination, equal opportunities, and loyalty can be attained. Coming back to Coubertin, legacy, Thomas Bach is stressing that athletes are at the core, at the center of the sports movement, the Olympic movement. Through athletes, and probably only through athletes, we can really approach different countries, different citizens from different countries with equality and with values. So very relevant this approach of Thomas Bach. And in the same speech, Thomas Bach emphasizes something really relevant. Athletes must be able to escape from their role as simple objects of the Olympic movement. They must become a true subject of our activities. So, all the different policies aim to have an effect on the athlete's life. Athletes are the main recipients of all the activities, all the policies in the Olympic movement. One thing is to identify the importance of athletes. The other thing is to put into practice that recognition. Athletes should not be a simple object of the Olympic movement. Another example can be given through another speech from another IOC president, Juan Antonio Samaranch. With a slight different angle, Samaranch says that our duty, the duty of the sport governing bodies, namely IOC, is primarily to serve athletes, the main recipients, here we are, to ensure that all athletes in the world have the same opportunities regardless of the political and economic system in their countries. Non-discrimination, equality. To help them become independent, to promote their development and fight against any form of discrimination that may hinder the development of their personality and their integration into society. So athletes also as human beings, and this idea of ensuring that athletes can be simultaneously our champions and persons who deserve their mental and physical integrity without any kind of discrimination. So, in the same speech, Samaranch added the following words: athletes are at the center of the Olympic movement. Here we are again, the same expression, and deserve our protection. Keyword, protection of athletes, so that once their sporting career has finished, they can continue providing their support to the Olympic family. Relevant element connected to the main topic of today's conference. transition, post-career, dual career and post-career. 1966. So there's a need to protect athletes, not only to focus in athletes as athletes per se, but also as human beings and with protection. So better than anyone else, they said, why should we consider athletes at the center of the sports movement, namely the Olympic movement? And if you also assess the main documents regarding athletes, we can identify here, again, focused on the Olympic movement, at the Olympic Charter, Rule 6, stating that Olympic Games are competitions between athletes, individual or team events, and not between countries. Even at the competition, the main global competition in the world, it is clear that athletes are at the center. Still, the Olympic Charter, athletes whose interests constitute a fundamental element of the Olympic movement. Athletes and the respective interests. Fundamental element, coming back to the previous assumptions by both by Bach and Samaranch. Let's focus on the interests of athletes. More than that, the Olympic symbols, IOC, through the Olympic Charter preamble, stresses that the Olympic flag represents the union of the 5 continents and the meeting of athletes from throughout the world of the Olympic Games. So there is no doubt that together with the statements of the very relevant IOC presidents and the IOC Olympic Charter, it is obvious the recognition, which is very positive, of athletes as the center, the goal and the essence of sport in general and the Olympic movement in particular. That's why we must also congratulate all the different initiatives to set up sport governing bodies to give a voice to athletes and to defend their interests. And when we're talking about interests, of course, we're talking about their rights. And giving them a floor, a mechanism, a tool to be in the decision-making process. That's why the IOC Athletes Commission is very important in this path, together with the European Elite Athletes Association, as well as the World Olympians Association or the World Players Association. So not only the speeches and the legal documents, but also an institutional approach through which athletes try to be at the center and need to be at the center because there's a consensus about that. Well, but everything is positive. Everything that it was highlighted is positive, but let's not forget the following. Of course, we live in the so-called European sports model with a pyramidal structure, with a cascade of rules, a hierarchy of rules that come from the top to the bottom of the pyramid. And let's not forget also that by signing a membership registration form or by signing a sports employment contract, athletes are bound by a myriad of legal, contractual, and regulatory duties. Of course, if they have a central role, they might have, of course, duties, responsibilities. No doubt about that. But let's assess the amount of duties and let's try to find out if there's a balance or not between duties and rights. In the IOC's corpus of rules, first, we all know that in order to participate in the Olympic Games, athletes must respect and comply with the Olympic Charter. Not only the Olympic Charter, the World Anti-Doping Code, the Olympic Movement Code on the Prevention of the Manipulation of Competitions, which is natural and positive against ethics. Athletes should be in a competition without cheating. Of course, positive, but duties. Then athletes must also comply with the entry procedure prescribed by the IOC Executive Board, including the signing of an entry form, and that through which they are obliged to comply with all the relevant documents. So there's an adherence to the rules. The IOC Code of Ethics is mandatory to all participants in the Olympics, so all athletes. Athletes are also subject to measures and sanctions. So we here identify obligations, compliance, being subject to several, a wide range of rules. Rules defined by IOC, which is a Swiss private law association, and that wants to ensure that all athletes with equality comply with a vast body of regulations. Nothing new, everything normal, but let's not forget that the majority of these documents provide duties to athletes. You will say, and that's true, there are already several documents which recognize the access to sport for athletes, labor rights, personal rights, legal rights, defending the interests, coming back to the quotations of the beginning of this presentation, defending the interests of athletes. That's absolutely true. But even in those documents, we can identify something that doesn't really guarantee in a strong way the rights of athletes. Not only the rights, but also the responsibilities. It's not really binding. Look at the wording, responsibilities. The declaration, the athlete's declaration, is based on encouragement when you talk about responsibilities. The declaration encourages athletes too. But as to the rights, the discourse is even less imperative. The declaration aspires to promote the ability and opportunity of athletes too. This declaration is very interesting, comprises a wide range of responsibilities and rights, was a project done together, giving voice to athletes, together with between the IOC and athletes, is very positive. But let's see the outcome and the impact, the legal impact of this. We can recognize that one thing is expressly confer rights to athletes as the same reasoning for obligations. The other thing is to stress that the declaration aspires to promote the ability and opportunity, not really rights. And it's an aspiration, not something that we are ensuring already now. So this is soft law, of course, but there is timidity. We can identify here not a formal and express recognition of rights, but a declaration, mostly a declaration of intent. Very relevant, once again, very complete. Those that have not yet the possibility to analyze the document, very relevant because it has links to different toolkits, to different good practice, very positive. But, and I'm sorry, as a lawyer too, I would prefer to have a binding document, especially because we cannot identify so many rights for athletes in the text of the Olympic Charter. Even the access to sport, we can identify that it's mostly addressed to sport for all and not necessary for competitive sport. So a binding document would be better. And if you look also to the Athletes Anti-Doping Rights Act, it is clear that, very transparent, which is also positive, that the act is not a legal document. Athletes' legal rights in the context of anti-doping are only those rights that are set forth in the code and international standards. Part 2 of these documents stresses that there are not rights under the code or international standards. So there are certainly rights in the WADA code, which is good for athletes, lots of obligations too. But in this relevant document addressed, focused on the real specific interests of athletes, it's non-binding. for those that are not yet familiar with these two other documents, I would suggest you to have to give your time to analyze the Universal Declaration of Players' Rights issued by the World Players Association. Very interesting document. And also a very recent document, the Déclaration universelle des droits des athlètes, adopted by the Avocat de Barreau de Paris. Once again, very relevant, both documents, public recognition of the interests of the athletes as which are at the center of sports, but once again, non-binding. So it's very difficult to transpose this to concrete measures and concrete sanctions when we are in practice, generally speaking. Probably connected with that. Not necessarily, but connected with that. It's important to understand that while we have the list, non-exhaustive but very interesting list of rights of athletes, together with a wide catalog, a big catalog of obligations, we go into practice and we find out that despite being at the center, athletes, we have cases where women's athletes' access to practice sport is restricted. We have discrimination on the basis of disability. Many cases where young athletes, namely mostly women, are victims of sexual abuse, excessive intensive training, forced labor, etc. We can also add racial discrimination, discrimination on grounds of sexual orientation, violation of the right to privacy or private life. So look, let's put ourselves in the shoes of the athletes. Athletes deprived of the freedom of expression and freedom to explore commercially their image rights, and the very famous Olympic Charter Rules 14 and 50 are good examples here. To be honest, IOC in the last years have been working together with the athletes, giving them a voice in order to mitigate those rules and also to ensure a balance between the need to protect the competition and protect the interests and the rights of athletes. That's very positive too. We must highlight that. But even though the voice of athletes is still a little bit compressed, freedom of religion to prohibition of clothing with religion connotations in some events, and here we're talking about not only we are talking about world championships, European championships, whatever. This is also a restriction of athletes' rights. So why do we say that we have athletes at the core, but then there are a lot of restrictions, and including access to justice? Sometimes, and we had already cases regarding that, sometimes the specificity of sport goes until a certain moment where the right of access to the courts, even through arbitration, is not necessarily and not totally in accordance with the fundamental right that all citizens have to go and to defend themselves in front of a court. Well, coming to this, after this assessment, I would like to leave you a suggestion or a proposal. We should discuss first if all those situations that exist nowadays in practice and in the documents enshrined in the different documents are unavoidable, inevitable, because we're talking about a specific activity, the specificities of the athlete's career. If so, okay, there's no alternative. But together with that, we also, if we consider, if we realize, on the contrary, that there's a room to balance the specificity of sport and the specificity of athletes' career together with their own protection of rights, if we understand that it is possible, we will definitely go into a better answer to the need to protect athletes. Coming back to the beginning of this presentation, to protect athletes, to not to consider athletes as a pure object, giving them a role and protecting their interests, not only as athletes, but also as human beings. So why not increasing the mandatory effect of the existing legal instruments? Very positive step that we already have those documents, different institutions. But regarding documents, why not, let's not remain with opportunity, ability, aspirational rights, recommended rights. Let's go into another step. And this step at the national level will have a consequence at the national level. So my proposal is indeed to give to those documents a binding nature in order to be mandatory. Then all the different NOCs, all the different athletes commissions will adapt discussion between the sports movement and the governments will tend to ensure also through the different state legislations the protection of athletes' rights. And only when we have this, when we will achieve definitely that balance, we will have really what was the main rationale of Coubertin, Thomas Bach, Samaranch, and all that really love sport, and sport exists once again because sport is inherent to the existence of athletes, and the ultimate goal, the main goal of the different activities and policies should be athletes. Only when we will achieve that step, we will ensure definitely that athletes are at the center of the sports movement. Thank you very much, and wish you a very fruitful discussion in the upcoming panels. Thank you very much.
So I'd like to thank Mr. Alexandre Mesh for his presentation. And now I will call the in-person guests for a quick talk here in this set. I could say many things about our next guests, but I will follow the script in order to say everything that is necessary to be said. Let me see if okay. Did I pass two or one? Okay. So, rounding our panel is former professional football player who now serves as a Chief Innovation Officer at Lisbon Digital School. Paulo Roças is also a trainer for several organizations, including Portuguese Football Federation, and is a sought-after public speaker at a variety of events. Please welcome Mr. Paulo Roças. Joining him is Inês Caetano, founder of Sports Embassy. No, the other. Okay. So Inês Caetano is founder of Sport Embassy, an organization dedicated to transferring the skills developed in sports into business world. Sport Embassy supports athletes in preparing for post-career opportunities while also offering training programs for companies. Inês is also a guest assistant professor at Universidade Nova, and she serves as a coordinator of master's thesis in sport management. Welcome, Inês. One, two, yes. Okay, let's start this small conversation with ladies first. Let's go straight to the business. Inês is an expert in dual careers. She works with former athletes, with athletes, and she tries to put their skills, is that right? Okay, so she talks a lot about soft skills. So what can Atlas really offer to companies that want them on their business?
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting Sports Embassy to support this event and this great project. Actually, it's not me who says soft skills. I don't think they're soft skills. They are essential skills. They are power skills. They are really important skills. Society says that it's soft. I don't think it's soft skills. They are really important. And what I believe is that sports is a very good way for us to learn those soft skills. We don't acquire these type of skills in the university, but sports is a very rich environment for us to achieve certain skills that are really important for life after sports and for the business world. We've been talking about high performance athletes, and we have a lot of Olympic athletes here. But what I believe is that we acquire these skills in amateur sports. I was also an athlete and I competed as well. I didn't reach the Olympics, but I truly believe that what I am today as a professional, most of it, a lot of it, I gain and I learn in sports. And that's why I founded Sports Embassy, because I realized that in really tough moments of my life, where I was already over my 30s, although I'm only like 31 or something, but I realized that a lot of my skills to deal with most of my problems I had gained in sports. And then I searched around myself, and most of my friends are related to sports somehow, and some of them were still professionals. Some of them had already changed their lives and were not competing anymore. And I understood that there was still a lot to do in terms of awareness. While you are in sports, you are not conscious of those soft skills, so you don't even know what those soft skills are. You are really focused on the technical and the tactical issues of each sport, but you don't really understand what you're gaining through sports that is really useful to another professional life. I think they're useful not only for the profession, but also for your personal life as well. But let's focus on life after sports regarding what profession you want to take. And those soft skills, they actually depend. They depend on the environment you are in, the sports you are in, your personal skills and abilities, what you really like and enjoy doing. You know, if you are in a sports team, like Paulo in football, you have a lot of players in one team. The sport is the same. The coach is the same. They will acquire different skills, and some of them will be true leaders, some of them won't. Some of them will develop communication, but some of them, they're more shy, so they're not as developed as the others, and that's okay. I think that the main thing is that everyone needs to be aware that these skills are learned in sports, and so coaches need to be conscious about it. They need to understand, because we talk a lot and we see a lot of athletes saying, no, football made me a man, right? Or like judo made me who I am today. Or a coach is saying that, no, I train people. Do they? You know, do they understand the impact they have? Do they understand and do they have the skills to understand what type of soft skills they are passing to the athletes? So I think it's a really hard question to answer, saying that, oh, it's communication, leadership, dealing with the mistakes. it can be everything. It depends on a lot of factors, and I think that's the importance of working the soft skills. It's to create the awareness, to understand when and why and how to work and how to transfer them from the sports context to another context.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation and for all of this. Thank you for all of these contexts that we are living here. I'm trying to tell my story for you to understand about the soft skills. I ended my career at 28, with no plan, with no college degree, with nothing, with 28 years old. And the only thing I have was my soft skills. Everything that I learned on the locker room, everything that I had, not a coach didn't give me anything. It was all of this competition, all of this creating this environment. So the soft skills that you earn every day and each day, it's the most important thing for the dual career, for the next step, because it's the thing that makes you different. Because I'm different. When I ended my career, I went to the first company that I worked, and I was different. I understand my colleagues, I understand everything. And it was completely different from football, and it was really completely different. You have that skills. You have that skill that makes you different, that you can enter in the company, in a job that understands everyone, because you can understand everyone. Being a sport with people too, or a soccer team like myself, we understand every aspects of a company because it's the same aspects of the team. We understand the leadership, we understand our colleagues, we understand everything. And that, for me, it's soft skills. It's really, really important for you to understand that you are one step above of everyone else that spent all their time on college to learn the hard skills. Your soft skills are more valuable than the hard skills, because you can enter in a company and understand everything that's around us. For me, that's soft skills. And that was the trick for me. I won because of that, because of those soft skills, because I understand the dynamics of a company. That's why this is really important, that we enter in the company and we really make a change, make difference in every aspect.
Thank you, Paulo. There's one thing in common, as Pedro Dias was saying, after his last fight in the Olympics in Beijing 2008, he started to cry, so he was lost, he didn't know what to do. Now we had also a good example with Paulo saying that at 28 he finished his career, and he was a little bit lost. So Paulo, I want to ask you a question. Maybe I don't know if most of the athletes, but a big part of the athletes feel lost after they finish their competition career. As an expert in communication and digital, can you see communication and digital as a good path for athletes, and why?
For me, it's the perfect path. It's because now that you have your sports career, you can create your audience. And digital and audiences, your group, the people that you know, you can change your audience to business and to aggregate more and more. Let's not say business, but amplify your next step in your career. Because in communication, you have a story. Pedro was the perfect example. When he was telling his story, every single person in this room was listening to Pedro. That's the difference, because we have a story. We can use this story to build an audience, to reach to people, to everything, to be different. I can give you an example. There are 100 the top 100 pages on Instagram. Let's talk about Instagram. That's the main social media because of the digital. Top 100. There are only 18 brands. Yes, 82 people. The biggest one are players or sports players because of the audience. You can use what we are doing now, what we are creating now in the Olympics, in your sports, to build an audience and to get to this level of excellence in communication. Because you will have an audience. My example is perfect. I was not a top player. I was never was a top player, but I had an audience because I traveled all around the world. I traveled in Portugal. Every single person knows me. And that's the first step for you, is you are known, everyone knows you, you need to build that audience and start to create the second path of your career. Go and create a plan first. So I'm going to leave the sports and then I'll go enter in the work environment. I just need to tell my story. And Pedro is the perfect example here. We came on stage, we just told his story and we were just listening. Wow, this is amazing. It was terrible for his life, for sure, but it's amazing. It's a great story. Start telling your story. In your environment, in your Instagram, in your Facebook, in your LinkedIn, start telling your story because you're special. Not everyone can be a professional soccer player or an Olympian. Not everyone. Tell your story. The percentage that have a story in sports, it's small. It's really, really small. And for me, that's the biggest weapon that we have. Digital, your communication skills, and your story. So tell your story. And bring that to your next step for your dual career, for the next career that you have. Tell your story in digital.
Thank you, Paulo. Someone said at the beginning, it was Sylvia, that she asked a few questions. If you are comfortable speaking in public, no one is, I guess, confident to speak in public, but it's something that you can learn. But sometimes athletes need some support, or need some help. Not sometimes, maybe most of the times. They need someone that can guide them. Inês, she does an very interesting work with their company called Sport Embassy. So I would like to ask Inês what Sport Embassy can do for athletes, and if any athlete in this room wants to reach out to you, what will say to them?
Yeah, we understood that it's very difficult to have a fit-all program, you know? Each athlete has their own needs. And from our experience as former athletes, or athletes when we founded Sports Embassy, we had some experiences of fit-all programs where you put athletes in a room and you tell them, now you build your curriculum and this is life. But that doesn't work for everyone, you know? Each athlete has their own needs. And for some athletes, they want to jump in and do and focus a lot and do everything in a couple of months. For other athletes, they want to do it in a couple of years, you know. So I think that our secret is to try to adapt to the needs of the athlete. We know the needs, so we know how to answer to the needs, but we are very flexible in the way that we try to help the athletes. And we have had a little bit of everything here, and sometimes we have athletes that, like Paulo and Pedro, they finish their career and the day after they reach out and they are in a very dark place at that time, so we need to adjust to a person that is having a hard time. Sometimes we have an athlete that reaches out and they say, okay, I want to finish my career in a couple of years, but now I don't know what to do. And so we adapt. And I think that's the main difference that we have. We personalize everything. How do we do it? First of all, we listen a lot so that we make sure that we can adapt accordingly. Because sometimes the athletes, they think they need something, but actually they don't need that. They need something else, totally different from what they thought. So we try to analyze that and understand the context of the athlete. If it's someone who already has a family, we know that the pressure is totally different from someone who doesn't have that responsibility of kids and a wife or a husband. It's completely different. So yeah, we try to analyze everything. Like a few weeks ago, we had an Olympian as well. He didn't manage to go to these Olympics. So most probably he will be out with all the supports that he had during the last 3 years. And he has a degree. He's comfortable with the hard skills he already acquired. He's looking for a job. He wants to make sure that if he doesn't have the financial support to pursue his career as an athlete, he's already comfortable to change and to have another career. And so he was looking for help to find a job, how to position himself to the business world, considering that he didn't make a decision. He's still trying to figure out, but he said, I'm ready. If I have to, I'm ready, and I'm okay with it. And for instance, we asked him, okay, while you are waiting, is it stressful for you not to have a job, not to have an income right now? And he said, no, I prepared myself to wait. I managed to wait. But sometimes we have athletes that financially are completely broken because they made a lot of bad decisions. So we try to analyze everything, you know, and I think this is very important, and the athlete needs to understand that even if someone provides him or her some help, they need to make sure that it's the help they need at that point. So how the athletes look for us? At this point, it's a little bit mouth to mouth. You know, athletes that already did their career transition with us. For instance, we now have an athlete that is a former athlete. He finished his career last year. That is now part of Sports Embassy. That is Pedro Cari, former futsal player, world champion and European champion. And he prepared himself with us. I think, Sergio, you know him, right? We have some futsal players with us. And Pedro prepared his life after sports with Sports Embassy, and he now has a project inside Sports Embassy on financial literacy for athletes. So this is also something that we try to promote, and we have now some athletes or former athletes that are running their like niche business inside Sports Embassy, which is something that makes us very, very proud.
Thank you, Inês. You can find more about her work at Sport Embassy. You can Google it. But you are on digital. Talking about digital, imagine that some athletes, they are lost at this moment. And Paulo, you spoke a little bit about the path that they could do through communication and digital in the digital area. So for those athletes that are listening, if they choose this path, what should they look for?
Well, first of all, they need to understand that they have a lot of room to grow on digital. That's the first one. Then they need to understand that they really need a plan. They'll need to create a plan for their future. But for start now, they really need to tell their story for everyone, for reach the most number of people possible. Because I know what the athletes are thinking, and they are thinking, and we are thinking the same. This will never going to end. My career is going to be for 50. I will never need a plan. The money will come. But it's really hard. You need to grow now. You need to get to a point of create your space, tell your story, tell to everyone that you exist, tell to everyone that you can create a difference. This is the main focus that you need to create. That you are in a top position that everyone knows who you are. Because you are a top athlete in your country, in your space, in your city. You need to use that to get to the second point. And in digital, everything you do will amplify your life. So use that for your benefit. Tell your story, use all the channels that you have, mainly LinkedIn, for you to grow. Create your page, your personal page. use that for you, for your advantage. And if you start building something from now, that you are a professional, you're Olympian, you are a sports player, start to create your path, start to create your room, start to create your place for everyone to understand that in the future, I will talk to you. We have a lot of good examples of people that create this space without spending any money, because this is all these platforms are free. So use the digital to amplify your message and start to create this path, because it's really important for you when you end your career. And I know this is kind of scary. It can end tomorrow, because it's possible. We don't know. But if you start to work today, it ends tomorrow, you're safe, because you have a space to reach to everyone. That's my example. It's perfect, my example. I worked at SL Benfica, the biggest club in Portugal, and I don't have a degree. I really don't have a degree. I didn't have, at the time I didn't have. Now I'm an engineer, but they look at me, hey, where you come from? I'm a former soccer player. Oh, can you talk with the players? Because we can talk with the players. We are journalists. So I told them, yes, I have locker room skills. So I start to talk with the players, and I help the club to reach to players, because, soccer players are prima donnas and divas, some of them, and they need to look at us and, oh, he understands the locker room. So start to create this environment, start to create your space, and when you decide to end your career, you'll have the correct path to go. Just use the digital to amplify you, and tell your story. Everyone has a story, so use to reach everyone. And then you'll see, it's gonna be great. You're gonna see the future, even before you left the game.
Just to add something that I think it's very interesting, because back in the days, we didn't have these type of platforms. So some former athletes that are here, they probably remember that they would win something in their sports and nobody would know, because it was not on the newspapers. And I think you suffered as well of this, Nuno. No one would know, because if the newspapers didn't care, no one would know. And nowadays, you can have a voice, and you can manage your own communication, and you can tell the world what you are winning or not. And this is just focusing on the sports career and the results. But when you say that people know who you are, I don't think I totally agree. I think people know what they do. People don't know who they are. And nowadays, what they can do is show people who they are besides what they do. And I think that's the most powerful thing of the digital, and we didn't have that back in the days. So back in the days, all the football players were dumb, because no one knew who the football players were. And nowadays, people admire football players because of who they are. And this is this is new. We didn't have that. We had stereotypes. And now they have the power to change that and show who they are. And nowadays, if you go and if you take a look on LinkedIn, there are a lot of companies nowadays that when they hire a former athlete, they promote a lot that they hired that former athlete. And they feel happy and they feel proud of having a former athlete in the company. So this is the companies recognizing those soft skills, essential skills, power skills, as you wish to call it, but the companies now, they are more aware of it, and they become to search that in people. So if you do what Paulo is saying, you can, it's a Tinder for companies. You promote yourselves and your skills, and the companies will look for you and will find you the perfect match for the skills they want to acquire for their teams and for their companies. And I don't think we are at the. It's not great yet, but we already have companies that are looking for that. So we're on the way to do it. So the right time, I think it's now for them to follow your advices, because we already have that type of people and human resource management managers and headhunters that already look for it. And when we go to the companies with athletes or former athletes, for them to tell their stories and for them to share a little bit of who they are besides sports, it's really, really nice to see that there's always someone on the audience that relates to the athlete. But they'd never related before because they didn't knew. They just knew that that athlete was top of the top of that sport. So it's not humanly possible for us to relate if that person is an Olympian. But when the stories are told, there's a match, there's a relation, there's empathy. It's totally different. So I would just like to reinforce what Paulo said, because I think that nowadays the athletes have so much power that back in the days it was inexistent.
I can give you the mic if you want to respond. So I will ask just one more question for both of you, and then we open the floor for a few questions if they want to ask some questions. So, using your words, I also believe in them. I think athletes, when they are competing, they are like teenagers. Like when a parent talks to their kids and they are teenagers, you have to say countless times the same thing. You cannot do that because of this. You need to do this because of that. So my question for you is and it's important for all the athletes that are actually competing at this moment. And when someone says to them, you need to think about your career, your future career. You need to think about dual career, because your sports life will end one day. But we know when we are competing, we just focus on that. So we are like teenagers. It's hard to understand. So what kind of message can you both say or transmit to them in order for them to understand better this concept of dual career? Because the end comes to us all one day.
Well, it's really hard to try to go and talk with these teenagers because the focus is on sports, is on what they really need to do. But the best thing is to see the good examples that already exist, because we have players, professional players that are growing in these areas of financial literacy, in these areas of technology, investing their money, understands what the future can be. But I think the main focus of the players must be what's in it for me. What I really want for my future. Because the present is really great, it's amazing, because you have the perfect body, you have the perfect sports, you're thinking about the Olympics, you're thinking about the next game, you're thinking about the gym, whatever, but you need to think what's in it for me. Why it's so important for me to think about my future? Because I was lost in sports, I was lost in my career. I never think about my future. When at 28, and I was at the top of my game at 28, and I left the soccer because I really knew it was it for me at 28. Because I thought I started thinking at myself. I need to think about myself. What's the future for me? So I know it's hard. You are teenagers. You are living the dream. You know what's Tinder, and you don't know what's like LinkedIn. I know that. I understand. But think about yourself, about what your future. That's really, really important. It's hard, but think about it. What do I really need to do? Is if it ends tomorrow, what I will do. This is really important. One or two times a year, think about this, because it's going to be hard. Because I have that experience. We had that experience. What now? And then you need to go and tell your story. So, what's in it for me? That's the main focus. What's in it for me in the next 10 years?
Before I pass it to Inês, a quick break for advertising. For those who are listening or watching in internet, Athlete Speakers is also a good answer for you. You can do the course online, and you can do it at your own pace.
You're an influencer, Nuno. Well done. Okay, first of all, dual career is not a closed concept. It doesn't have to be equal for everyone, and the athletes, they are not equal either. And dual career is important for an amateur player or an amateur athlete, because not all the athletes earn money with the sports. So dual career is important for all the athletes competing. And dual career can be a lot of things. I don't believe that it has to be equal for everyone. If you are an athlete and you're doing good money, you probably don't need to be concerned with a degree if you're not ready for that, if you don't know what you want to do, but you need to worry on how to save your money, how to invest your money, how to be aware of the danger of spending too much. And you can go step by step. You can first learn how to do this, then learn what you want to do with your money and with your skills, and then have a degree later because you won't suffer from lack of money. But then you can be an athlete, you can still earn your money in sports, and you don't know what you want to do. You don't know what you want to do when the sports it's over. But you don't need to go to the university and have a degree. You can understand your season and understand that there are 3 or 4 months of the season that you feel comfortable about studying. So take small courses. Learn digital skills. Learn a second language or a third language during those 3 or 4 months of the season that you feel comfortable sharing sports with another activity. You need to be smart on how you want to build your dual career. A dual career is not mandatory to be a career where you are in sports and university. For some athletes, being in university is very stressful. It gives them a lot of anxiety because they feel the pressure, because the athletes, they want to be the best at everything. And for some athletes, it's not doable to be in the university and in sports, and that should be fine. And we should accept that it has to be, and it can be different for different types of people. So I think that for me, the main thing is that understand that dual career is a very personal concept, and you need to understand what you are willing to do, what you like to do, who you are besides sports. Understand that sports is just a part of who you are. You are also a kid, you're someone's kid, you're someone's boyfriend or girlfriend, or husband or wife, it depends on the stage of a career, brother, sister, whatever. You have different roles. Being in sports is just one of them. And having another occupation, as being a student, an investor, or a worker at a company in a part-time job, it's very important, and it's really helpful for your career in sports, because having another occupation is really, really important when everything goes wrong in sports and you have something else to focus on. But that something else, it can be totally different from an athlete to another. So I think that the first mistake that we do is accepting that dual career is going to the university or being at school. It doesn't have to be that like that. It doesn't have to be that if it's not what you want. You can explore different courses. You just need to be occupied and acquire different skills outside of sports, relate yourself with people outside of sports, so that you can tell your story to different audiences, and when sport's over, you have different audiences to talk to. And you have other people that you met in the courses that you did, and in the networking events that you went. And I think that's the most important thing. It's embrace the different types of concepts that dual career can be, and work in yourself, understand who you are when you are not an athlete. And I think that one of the biggest mistakes that top athletes make, and sometimes they are not even top athletes, they are athletes pursuing the dream of being top athletes. The biggest mistake is to confuse who they are with the fact of being an athlete. I stopped competing at a higher level from one day to the next day when they told me you are not going to walk again. And I had the dream. I competed again, but I couldn't be a top athlete ever after that. So I competed at a national level just because I wanted, and every training and every competition was a victory to me. And this can happen to anyone, you know? So you need to be ready, and you need to be prepared, and you need to be really conscious of who you are outside of sports, and embrace dual career, not as a mandatory thing like to have a degree, but to have a different occupation, a different circle of people for you to talk to, because when sport's over, most probably sports people are the ones who are going to close the doors and the windows, just like happened to Pedro. Pedro is not the only person and the only athlete or former athlete who had this experience. But if you have other friends, and if you know other people from the courses that you did, from the part-time jobs that you had, people will recognize you as something else besides your sports. And I think that's the most powerful thing of having a dual career.
It wasn't just me, this was deep, right? Thank you very much, Nish. For me, one of the best things of these kind of roundtables is like when you are a researcher at university, sometimes you are a very good researcher, but the research doesn't connect with the practice. Here we had very good examples. They are both researchers, but with a very practical knowledge. And sometimes this is the most important thing, I think, to connect the practical aspect, the reality, what happens in the reality. So maybe we have some time for 2 or 3 questions, if you want to ask some question. Sophia, please.
I'll just speak louder. But it's working? Okay. So you're saying that athletes should put themselves out there and tell their stories and all of that. But sometimes I think that they're afraid of putting themselves too much out there, and companies might also be afraid of their exposure. How do you walk this line between not overexposing yourself as an athlete but still telling your story?
Who wants to answer first?
Well, you just to use the common sense, you know, on that, the rule of common sense, because you have to understand that you need to put yourself out there for everyone. It's just like Ines said, everyone knows what you do, but not everyone knows who you are. Just tell your story and tell everyone who you are. What are your dreams, what do you want, what you have learned, everything that the direct aspects of you. So if you do this with a plan and a structure and with the mindset that I want to grow as a person with all these platforms, for all the people know who I am, you will not have any problem with that, for sure. Because I work with athletes, and what I say to them is just tell your story. And all the athletes that I work, they understand perfectly what this means. Because you need to understand that this is you, just put yourself out there. Then what you do will amplify. Because you are known, everyone knows what you do and who you are. So use the platforms for tell everyone what your soft skills, what you like, what you want to do, what are your dreams. Just do that. And you will see the magic happens in the digital world and in this dynamic of audiences. You understand that. Giving you one example, I work with the women team of Portugal, and I give them information about the social media and digital, and everything changed because they understand perfectly that they are the way and the path for other women to come to the sports. They need to build this big world of we are here, We are proud, and we need you, the young women, to come to and grow with us. So put yourself out there, tell your story. This is me, and now let's see what happens. Yes?
We are 5 minutes past time, but I think Inish can answer in 30 seconds.
I think that if you are a good person, that's not a problem. That's usually a problem when the athletes don't have their standards in the right direction. That becomes a problem. Otherwise, I don't think that's a problem. I think what Pedro did with his life was really, really brave. Most of the athletes, they don't feel comfortable to share their goals and their dreams. And Pedro said, I'm going to the Olympics. But usually the athletes, they don't trust enough on themselves to put their goals out there. And what Paulo is saying is for you to be vulnerable and put yourself out there. It doesn't mean that you need to expose all your life. You can have your boundaries. And that's why it's important to have a plan. Okay, I don't want to show my family. I don't want to make my kids, to put my kids in public, or my wife or my husband. That's totally fine. Those are boundaries, and they are part of your plan. But you need to be brave, I think, and you need to be vulnerable enough also. But that's why I'm always saying, understand who you are, because the boundaries are part of who you are. These are my boundaries. I will put myself out there, and these are my limits. And that's fine. If you have the right values, if you have common sense, like Paulo said, I don't think that there won't be any problems for the companies. And I think that the companies will admire you more because of that.
So I just want to say thank you to both of you. It was very insightful. It was sometimes very deep, but definitely very interesting. And I hope that everybody enjoy it. And once again, thank you very much. One final words.
Thank you for listening to me, and good luck with your career, with your future, and have a plan, and just be yourself. I think this is the trick. Be yourself, and look at your future once in a while. What do I really want for my future? This is really important. And thank you once again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here today. Thank you, Paulo, for sharing this with you. I'm a really big fan of Paulo, and you should follow Paulo because he has always some insightful information, and he speaks to the athletes sometimes. Also, Nuno, thank you so much for providing us a really easygoing talk between the three of us, and we'll have the networking afterwards, so we can answer more questions there. Thank you so much.
Okay, good. I see you all looking very fresh and nice. And as Paulo said many times, tell your story. And now I would like to invite you for a little activity that is the 3-minute activity. 3 minutes, it means that you will have to meet 3 people for 3 minutes and to ask them 3 things. The first thing that you will have to ask them, and we will start to remember how to ask them, we will start from the feet, and we will start asking them for our past, what our past is. What is the past of this person? Maybe where he's from, but you need to meet people that you have never met before. Then after the feet and the past, we go to the heart, and we will need to ask the person that we met, what is his passion? After the passion, we go to the mind, and we think of what is his future ideas, where is he aiming to. So you would have exactly 3 minutes to meet 3 people, to ask the past, the passion, and the future, and then we will continue with the program. So go and meet 3 strangers that you have never met before. Yeah, we go. I come to someone. Okay, we have. Okay, okay. No, no. Okay. Okay. No, nobody can hear me. Maybe this one. Hello? No? Hello? Ah. Ah, oh. Thank you very much. Pedro is not working. Okay. 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 We have like 10 minutes last. Wrap it up. Good. We take our seat. We are waiting for everybody to have a seat. Good. Maybe meanwhile we are waiting for everyone to sit. Is there somebody who wants to share interesting information that you have learned about your colleague? Fantastic. I have sensed when what was your name? I met you earlier. Andrea. I have sensed Andrea has an Italian accent. Fantastic. It's really nice to see also Italians because in our project there are many organizations, but we lack Italy. So it's fantastic to meet you here, and I look forward to talk to you at the networking cocktail later on. Perfect. So we have more participants here today. How amazing. Okay. Now, after these beautiful discussions and useful information that we have received, it is time to turn to a couple of presentations and to learn more about the Athlete Speakers Project and what it has contained. The Athlete Speakers Project aims to empower and inspire athletes to develop their communication skills, which will increase their employability opportunities in the future. And to share an overview of the project objectives, I would like to invite Ms. Sara Glogovic from the Olympic Committee of North Macedonia to share with you a lot of useful information that everyone, you can also take your phones later and take notes and so on. So please, a round of applause for Sara.
Okay, so hello to everyone from myself as well. We have heard so many inspiring speeches. We had a great panel discussion over here. So now it's the time for you to hear more about the Athlete Speakers Project. I'm Sara Glogovac, coming from the Macedonian Olympic Committee. We are coordinating the Athlete Speakers Project together with our partner organization. It's the Sport Evolution Alliance, unique European Network for Innovation and Knowledge, the Slovakian Olympic Committee, the Bulgarian Paralympic Committee, Asociación de Jugadores de Futsal Sala, and Champions Factory. This project is funded by the European Union and it's in duration in 2 years, and currently we are facing the final conference. Shireen already said a little bit about our objective, which is we aim to develop, test, and implement a tailor-made innovative program to make a better communication skills for our athletes. Having a good communication skills is a key to influence others and create powerful teams and achieve successful outcomes. We have 3 main pillars, which is empowering elite athletes to speak their mind. This means that we can use them as a role models and use them to have a better reach for different causes. The second pillar is enhancing athletes' communication skills. We know that this is the essential life skills of the 21st century. The third pillar is supporting dual careers, which means bringing benefits to their lifestyle management and future employment. I will tell you more about the project activity timelines a little bit later, because I want you first to see a small, not so long-lasting video that will represent our project, and you will be able to see how we were promoting it. We don't have a voice?
During their careers, they excel in sports and cultivate a diverse set of soft skills invaluable for their careers. However, many athletes still encounter challenges in communicating, leading to reduced involvement as agents of social change and missing employability opportunities. Athlete Speakers aims to design, test, and implement an innovative, tailor-made education and training program that empowers elite athletes by enhancing their communication skills. The program covers topics such as public speaking, storytelling, social media, media training, nonverbal communication, and job interview preparation, enabling athletes with complete tools to succeed in every aspect of their careers. The Athlete Speakers Project is coordinated by the Olympic Committee of North Macedonia in collaboration with 6 distinguished European organizations. Follow our social media channels and stay tuned for the latest news.
This project is funded by the European Union.
So that was just a small introduction of what we have been doing in the past 2 years. And I want you to know that when we started this project, we had a small task. It seemed like a small task, but it ended up as a huge impact for the project. The idea was for each partner organization to make a research of their best practices report in their own country. We created a best practices report, and while we were doing that, we were trying to find the best suitable multimedia communication agency. We are happy that we managed to find one and that we created the best communication online course that will help. It started helping and it's currently helping. It will help in the future for all the elite athletes to improve their communication skills. The online course modules that we created are public speaking, nonverbal communication, storytelling, media training, job interview preparation, and social media. You will hear more about this content after I finish with my presentation, since Carla Rocha, the one who created our communication online course, is here and she will dive deeply into the content. I'm here to tell you more about how you can enroll into the online course. So you can enroll by scanning the QR code that you can see on the screen behind me, or typing athletespeakers.eu on the website. You can also download the application of the Sport Academy on your mobile phones. The registration is very easy. It will take only a couple of minutes. You need to create your profile and just fill in your personal information. The course is completely free and it lasts approximately 5 hours, so it means it's not a lot. You can also choose your subtitle, which is offered in 6 different languages. Additional documentation is also provided, and it's available to assist you throughout your learning journey. There is no requirement to finish the course in one sitting. You can progress in your own pace. After you finish with the course, there is a certificate that you will receive for recognizing your successful completion. If you have any questions regarding the registration process, you can address all to me. And if you want to know more, if you have questions regarding the modules, you will hear more later on by Carla Rocha. How we started promoting the course was with having multiplayer sport event in the 7 partner organization countries. We had more than 40 participants in each country, so which means we had a huge impact on the elite athletes. They were very keen in knowing more about the course. So I urge all of you to spread the news about the online course, to share it among your sport community, to tell them more about the online course, and make them complete it, because this will bring a huge benefit into their future career. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, with this, I would like to conclude my presentation and leave the floor to Carla Rocha. And one more thing, I would like you to follow our social media channels. We are going online on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and on the website as well. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sarah, for giving us a little bit more information about the project and all of the deliverables that we have been developing and submitting. And now, one of the main results of this project is the communication course that has been developed by a fantastic communication agency led by Carla Rocha. So I would like to give her the word to tell you more about the program, how it has been created, what it contains, and what are the benefits that everybody can get from this program. So please, a round of applause for Carla.
Thank you so much. I don't need it. No, thank you. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Yes, I'm Carla Rocha. I had the honor to produce and record and deliver this online course. I'm glad that my team is here as well. It's a challenge because I heard some people talking, and yes, communication is this soft skill. We need to communicate. We need to promote ourselves. As athletes, we need to prepare ourselves for the future. And we've heard here, Paulo was saying a lot, tell your stories. And Dinesh was saying, you have to be a great communicator. But how do you do that? if you don't train. Because I believe that a good communication is built, and you need to train, and you need to know what you're doing right and not so right. So doing this online course is a chance to get to the basics, and the basics are not that basic. And going back to your messages, going back to reflect on who you are, what you want. One of the models is also about this. Who are you? It's a model to prepare to a job interview. But first of all, you have to deep dive into yourself and think, who am I? What are my values? Where are my stories? So we have all the modules that you saw here, and I just want to give you a couple of examples, because I have to share with you, in less than half an hour, I'll be online defending my master degree thesis, so I cannot be too long on this intervention. But I need to tell you that a good communicator is built, and communication is this superpower, and yes, we need to tell stories, but yes, we need people to teach us how to tell our stories. Otherwise, we're going to be long, we're going to be boring, we are not getting to the point. So instead of going out there and before rehearsing some of the material that you have, just come to us, submit to the online course, and learn how to tell stories. Learn how to collect your experiences, your small disasters, your events, and put your thoughts together, and then have a communication that it's really appealing. It's not improvising all the time. You need to think before you speak. And this course is all about that. Prepare before going to a meeting, think about yourself, reflect about the company, investigate the company you want to work with eventually, and then go out there with all the confidence that you can have. And another thought that I was there and I was thinking about is that I'm a speaker as well. I don't like this, I prefer, I don't know, maybe I can have a microphone and talk to you. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah? Really? Okay, one last thought. I'm a speaker as well, so I go on to companies and I speak about communication and leadership. And recently I was with this athlete, Rui Bragança, I'm not sure if you know him. He's a taekwondo athlete. And he was there, he was trained by us some while ago, I believe it was 5 years ago. And Rui was there telling his story, and pictures were coming out of the screen, not more than picture, there was no text on the slide deck. And Rui was speaking from his heart about all the challenges, about not having money, about having to compete in conditions that the athletes in the same place had no idea they were facing. No money at all. He was in Switzerland with some athletes, Portuguese athletes as well. And he was telling the story and I could see the room, I was there watching and seeing the impact that an athlete telling his story has. And when it came the time to Q&A, the lunch was at 1 o'clock. And you know what? We were there until 1:30. No one left the room. Because after hearing the story, they wanted to hear, tell me a bit more about this. How is your life right now? Because you are not an athlete competing anymore. You are a doctor right now. How's your life? What are you doing? What are your struggles now? It was so interesting to see. And maybe people in this room do not have the idea of how inspiring and an athlete can be, and how people, ordinary people, are really interesting in your stories, in your life, in your challenges. So if you do the course, what I can say is you'll have an amazing team that will train you. You can do exercises on your own pace. You can have experts telling you do's and don'ts, to talking to media, to presenting in front of a public, to go to a job interview, what to do with your body, your nonverbal and everything. All is there. You just need to have that will and move on. So thank you so much. Any questions? Maybe you have a question or two. I believe I still have time before going and trying to have my 20 on my thesis. Joking. Any question about, yes, and over there as well. Okay, Pedro has a question. Is it a question, Pedro? Have a doubt? You still have doubts? Thank you. Yeah, I cannot hear you, but I'm sure it will be in a minute. It's not on, maybe? Yeah, your voice is wonderful. You can.
They were still practicing and so on. But for example, even in this project with this amazing course, we are struggling with some problems to reach the athletes and to get them engaged with the program. Why do you think is that happening?
Well, maybe, I don't know, some people, and yeah, it was funny, I was talking with Barbara a few minutes ago, and Barbara was saying, you know, I love learning, but I struggle when I learn for a while before I can practice and before I can assure myself that I have that skill. So learning is hard. And if you don't have that routine, if you don't have that habit of learning, you have to sit, in this case, in front of a screen, hear people talking, but in a way that it's about you and it's about your skill, but still you have to get out of your comfort zone and you have to feel that you're not competent for a while. You won't be competent in public speaking for a while until you get the skill, until you train. What we teach in the course is also how can you regulate your emotions and not be so nervous when you are in front of a public. But you know, this feeling of, okay, I'm in front of a public, I'm a bit nervous. This will be here all the time, and no matter how practice no matter how good you are and how much you practice, this will remain. And it's a signal. It's a signal that you care. So yes, we teach some techniques to be more in control, but knowing that all the adrenaline will be here, and it's good. It's good for you. It keeps you focused. But when you go to public speaking, you need to be structured. So what we teach in the course is how to be structured, how to organize, color, and deliver that speech. But again, and answering your question, I believe that learning is hard. But once you do it and you learn a new skill, you feel so much more confident than you were before. It's something that you earn, and no one will take that away from you. And thinking about the future and thinking about your next career, communication, whether it's public speaking or being able to be in a job interview and nail that job interview, or being in a board of a company, or being a leader of a team, you never know what you will be. You need this skill. And you can do millions of courses, but this one is shaped for you. Okay, another one.
Sylvia from the Olympic Committee of North Macedonia. Yes, it's working. Okay, so my question is not connected directly to the programs we have developed. We have a fantastic product, and we are so proud of. Thank you so much for all the content that we have and your team has created. I'm curious, from your own experience, is there a specific group within the society that is the most reluctant, or are struggling with improving their communication skills? I hope that is not the athletes themselves as a group. And whether the age also is a factor, whether you're going to improve your communication skills or not. I don't want to sound discriminatory to elderly, but whether also age plays a role in when to to invest more in your communication
Yeah,
skills?
I see, Sylvia. Well, I don't, from my experience, what I do is we have this communication training company, and we train leaders and teams from all sectors of activity, like lawyers, doctors, engineers, who else? Tech guys and girls. And no, I cannot. Maybe when we started in 2015, maybe there was some resistance from doctors, from lawyers, like, okay, I do it well. But with time, and the world is changing, and we are thinking that we live in this such noisy world where everyone wants to have a voice. And I believe that even the most reluctant now thinks, oh my God, I need to do something about it because it's not working. I'm talking too much. In the meetings, people are bored. I don't get the attention. No one turns the camera on. So I need to change something. So I guess that with time, people are realizing that communication is not something you can choose to develop. You develop or you develop. And about age, I don't know, I have my team here, Teresa and Filipa. Do you feel that age is a problem in our, because we train people from, what, 70? You know, we had this woman in our academy. We have an academy, 3 months training, and she was there after having, you know, she was retired, and she still wanted to, well, it's just an example, but we have in their 60s and 50s. So I don't have that idea. No, I don't have that idea. I think that communication, maybe COVID and the way the work started, you know, developing in a different way or being organized in a different way, just brought to mind that we need to develop ourselves as communicators and be the best that we can be in all contexts. And athletes have these wonderful, amazing stories and amazing background and struggles and victories and successes. And I can tell you from my point of view, and I have this double point of view as a trainer, athletes trainer, communication trainer, and as someone who is connected to the companies. There's business for you. You can earn money. I was at lunch trying to convince Rui, this athlete, Rui Bragança, to post more on social media, to post the pictures on the event, to say to the world out there that he can have a participation in an event. He can add something. He can add value to the companies everywhere. But again, sometimes we are not seeing the possibilities. We are focused in our careers as athletes. Now he's a doctor, so he has a lot to do, had a kid, but still we were talking about, oh, I needed to make some more money. And I was there and I was saying, you have this. You have the toolkit. You just need to be out there and promote yourself. And this is something all of you athletes can do.
Can I ask one more question? Because you said you're going to leave the room because you're not going to stay.
Yes,
one more very short.
Yeah.
If you can share with us the tips of how to convey your message in a very effective way, meaning that also myself, sometimes when I ask questions, especially in panels discussion, and I can see that also with the others, that we tend to be too long.
Yeah.
We tend to take the space too long, and it's so obvious that you have so much to say, but it doesn't come across the audience because it takes too long. What are the tips? How we can convey the message, but in a short time, while we have the attention of the audience?
Talk less.
How less?
Yeah, no, it's know how to stop. What I feel is sometimes we are talking and we are enthusiastic about it, and it's fine, it's great. And then all of a sudden, you know, there's the punchline. You went and you would end so well, but you still continue talking. And again, the effect of wow just goes. Know how to read also your energy, but the energy in the room, and know how to stop and convey the message organized. I mean, I like things in boxes. I'm talking about this, and then I'll move to this, and then this, and I close. Okay, 3 ideas, 3 whatever. And we tend to, you know, random around, and I go back and forward, and just organize your thoughts. Think before you speak, or think before you write would be, I guess, the best advice. Of course, you need to do the course so that you have, the right tips.
Thank you so much.
I know. Thank you. Thank you. All good? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Carla and her team, they have done exceptional work, so massive in terms of quantity that I can hardly explain it. It's really, really a lot of work, and it is one of the main deliverables that is going to be evaluated by the European Commission when we are reporting our program. Because the quality is one of the most important things nowadays in our work, because there are so many programs and so many products developed during these programs. For the next part of the program, I would like to ask you a question. Do you know, or what is the age of the youngest athlete that has joined the national team that you know? Age of the youngest. What age is the youngest that someone has ever joined the national team? Either individual or group sports, team sports. Can you guess? 8. You know someone of the age of 8? In skating, 8 or 10? Maybe that Brazilian young girl? Okay. Gymnastics, maybe? Okay. I'm asking you because the panelist of the next discussion and the next panel, Athletes Experiences, is a very impressive and engaging person, Zuzana. Zuzana has joined the national team of ice skating of Slovakia when she was 12 until the age of 26. So imagine how long professional athlete's career she has. She competed in 2010, Winter Olympic Games in Vancouver and multiple World Championships. Now Zuzana is part of the Slovak Olympic and Sports Committee and we will lead the next panel. So please, huge round of applause for Zuzana Tumčíková.
Thank you for the... do we work? Can you hear me?
Yeah, take this one. Okay.
Now? Okay, it should be working now. Thank you for the warm welcome, Shirin. It's great to be here. I was thinking how to start the panel discussion since we're leaning towards the end, and I thought, well, I want to start with a saying. And I thought, save the best for last. There's a saying, save the best for last. Well, we're almost the last, so save the best for almost the last. But then I thought, well, this is a communication conference, and maybe insulting all the other participants wouldn't be the greatest idea. So then I thought of a different saying, and the saying is that the luck favors the prepared. And I think with the athletes that we will have in our panel, they were very prepared during their athletic careers. We will speak about a different kind of preparation, about the communication preparation and how important it is for athletes. So please let me welcome to the stage 3 very accomplished athletes. First of all, it's going to be Tomče Stojcevski. Perfect. I managed. He is a basketball player from North Macedonia. He has the silver medal from the European Championship and has won with his club team national championships, right? Perfect. So that's correct. So we have that one correct. Then please let me welcome to the stage Christian Stoyanov. Second, welcome. He is a Paralympian. He has a silver medal from Tokyo, and he is also 2-time World Para-Athletic Champion. Welcome. And last but not least, let me welcome Jakub Grigar. He is a 2-time world champion in canoe slalom and also has a silver medal from the Tokyo Games. So maybe we can share this one, and then I'll give this one to you too. So first, since we're going to speak about communication, I have an icebreaker. What's your favorite dessert?
Whoa. For me, I don't have a favorite dessert. I have favorite workout, of course.
I really love food, so I'm gonna go with the chocolate brownie with vanilla ice cream.
Well, I'll be traditional, so I would go with ice cream just, yeah.
Great answers, and now to the important topics. I want to start with the communication in general, and I want to ask you if, or why do you think that communication is important for athletes and for their career and for their development of their career?
Well, while we are having an athlete career, it's important to communicate with our audience. That's the fans. That's the fans in the seats, the fans on the TV. And while we finish our career, it's important to send a message. Because I divide people by normal people and athletes. Why I'm saying this? Because elite athletes, as I see both of them here, they have really power to empower other people. They're role models. So it's really what they do, what values they bring, so what values they promote. So actually I would say that communication is a really part of their after career or in the career.
Perfect, thank you. Maybe we can shift within the communication. Tomče mentioned the media, but I think that there's other aspects of the communication. You have your coaches, you have your teammates, you have your other team members. So why do you think that good communication is important also within your teams?
It's always important because for me, like person with a disability, this is especially important because when I was young and before started training, I was always walking and looking to the ground with maybe people will say I was having no motivation for anything and I was feeling weak and different, and that's correct. But then I find the sport, and throughout my career I was communicating with many new people, and then I gained that skill to communicate and to share my thoughts with my friends. I met amazing friends in athletics, and a few years later I was a person who can freely talk about what I was feeling and what I want to do, what my aims are, and what I want to do, and how to just just to be a normal kid now.
Jakub, what about your thoughts?
On communication with the team, I think it's pretty much crucial, and I would go to the story that I had a few weeks ago with my daughter, and she's 2 years old, and with the kids it always depends how you say the things, and the way you say and pronounce the things leads to different outcomes. And she was in the middle of the street and she decided she doesn't want to go home anymore, and she wanted to go back to the kindergarten. And you know, if I was there shouting at her, she would probably turn, she would start to cry, and she would run the other way. So I had to think about it and communicate in the other way, in the way that she would understand and she would be helpful to, you know, get me to my goal to actually get into the car and come home to her mother. And I think the same thing you can use in sport. Like you set the goal, and you need to find a way to communicate it to either athlete or as an athlete to the coach. And it's crucial to get it to the other side the way you want it, so you can easily get to the goal, and that's the main part of the communication in the team, I guess.
That was a great comparison from a child to your teammate. I mean, that works. Now let us smoothly transition into the athlete speakers coach. And I have a first question about one of the modules. And I think that this is something that is mostly connected when we speak about athletes and their communication, and it's the communication with the media. Can you remember your first interview that you gave to a journalist?
Well, it was a long time ago, and I must say that I was terrible. Yeah, because before that I didn't have any experience. Even though the interview was in my native language, Macedonian, I was lost at the beginning. So if I remember well, they cut the video. So, yeah, they didn't ask about the deserts or something like that to break the ice. But I remember I started again. So they were asking straightforward questions about basketball. So after a couple of minutes, I got used to it. So when we are asked about the stuff we train twice a day, we shouldn't have problem, you know. But anyway, the experience and the communication skills that you didn't have before made that a little problem at the beginning, but with practice you get used to it.
I can say that my main aim during interview is to motivate people and to make them braver than they were before. But on the first interviews, you know, that doesn't work. And just before a few years, right after my participation in Tokyo Paralympics, I won second place there, silver medal, and I was back in Bulgaria. But the Paralympians, we receive 10% award of what normal athletes receive. And that was not good, you know, it's not equal. We were less racers, less athletes. So I was on my way to start a fight about that, but I was not very well prepared. So I've tried my best, and some random people said, "You are right, that should be corrected," but no, it was not corrected at that time. It was corrected last year, and that was not because they didn't want to correct it. It was because I don't, at that time I was not knowing how to make them want to do that, and how to motivate them to correct that, and yeah, that's it. So I think that this course is very good to prepare us for that moments that are very, very, you know, important in our careers, and they are important not only for us, but for everybody, for every athlete who is facing some inequality.
Jakub, I can imagine that that would be 3 out of 3 that you weren't the best for the first time when you did the interview.
I actually have that on video, and I watched it like, yeah, maybe 2 months ago, and it was terrible. It was horrible. Like, you could see I was super scared because there was a camera in my room, and behind the camera I remember seeing my mother, and she was like, watch what you say, little man. Like, so
I can imagine that you've gotten better over the time.
Well, I'm still bad, but still working on it. But if you saw the video, and I can show it to you later, you could see that there's a huge improvement. But as I saw the course, there's still a lot to learn. So.
Well, that's actually one of my questions. First of all, before you had the course, what were maybe some of the tactics that you used, how to get better? Obviously, training really helps, but still you have been in the situation, you think, okay, well, maybe this wasn't the best, next time I try it another way. So maybe what were the things that you've tried before you had the course, and then maybe how the course have helped you to even get better? Or now when you'll have another interview, you're going to think of it and be like, haha, athlete speakers, I'm going to be better now.
You know, since I was a little boy, I always thought that you have to be born with the ability to speak. And I was always seeing the people on the TV or in the videos, and they looked so natural, and they could speak so freely, and the message was always delivered. And I always thought, like, I'm never going to be that guy. And, you know, seeing that first interview really assured me of that. But before I didn't even know there's something like the course to teach you how to speak. So I always tried to, you know, if we had a team race and there would be 3 of us standing in front of the camera, I would always try to steal the mic and do the talking, so I could, you know, really put myself in the situation and try to learn with the, you know, learn to swim with throwing me into the water. And I'm so happy that I came across this course and that I found out that it's like sports, something that you can learn and that you can practice, and there's some things that you can practice to get better, and I really like that, and I love that.
Amazing, thank you. We have 2 individual athletes here and we have 1 team athlete, so maybe Tomče, a question for you. How is it different when you address the media? You're a team player, you need to think about things that you say compared to you not rather saying maybe your teammate not having the greatest day, because for the 2 gentlemen, it's the 2 of them. If they make a mistake, well, you know who did it. But for a team, it might be a little different. So maybe if you can tell us more about how you think when you give an interview to think about the team, and how do you approach that?
Well, being a team athlete, I think that it's important that in team sports you gotta think always about the teammates, about the coach, about the staff. So when you're asked a question about the game, so you gotta be more polite, diplomatic, politic, you know, because you don't want to get into coach's job. So you'll get punished. Monday is close enough, you know. So, as I said before, the questions are straightforward about the game. So you try to be short with no more than quite a bit of intro. So you get straight to the point and you answer the questions.
Perfect. So we have a next politician of North Macedonia because he was a team player. When we have done a study regarding the athlete speaker scores, and out of our respondents, 81% said that they would recommend this course, which is a great number, and we're very happy that all the participants have liked it, and hopefully the ones that are going to come are going to like it as well. And the 2 models that stood out were storytelling and public speaking being ranked the best. Were these 2 models also your favorites, or do you have a different favorite?
Maybe storytelling is my best, because you know, a story can tell many things, and you can get what you want to get. You can see yourself in the story. As I see today, I've seen myself many times, and everything that has been talked about here. So yeah, storytelling is for me the best.
Your turn.
Should I answer
yeah,
that?
You should.
I loved it all, actually. Yeah, there was a lot of information that you could take something from each of the categories in there, and I actually couldn't pick my favorite, because there was so much new information for me and so much new techniques to learn that, I couldn't pick my favorite.
I would say all the topics are intriguing. I couldn't pick just one. At the beginning, when you see the subject of the modules, you get, oh, I know what they're gonna say, you know. But it's very well structured. The content is lovely. I mean, the girls from the Olympic Committee, I remember they said, oh, Tomče, please like finish this course this weekend. And I was like, well, I'm on a holiday, we'll see. But it was so fun that I finished in a 2 days time span, something like that. So I really enjoyed it, and I found some modules that helped me a lot. I would, if you let me, I would pick 2 examples that I really had trouble with at the beginning, you know. So I'm not wearing my ring today. Hopefully my wife will not watch this. But I'll refer to that example because when I talk for a longer period of time, I'm playing with my wedding ring. And also when I talk to an audience, sometimes I'm looking up, like counting the birds, you know. So I'll try to cut that and to improve on that topic.
You're speaking my mind because the next topic that I wanted to talk about was the nonverbal communication. So the fidgeting with the ring is exactly that. So thank you for the transition. I didn't even have to try. So when you saw the module or after seeing it, do you take precautions, or maybe I'll say it another way. I think that there's a difference how we act in public when we're not athletes. Of course, we're always athletes, but there's different signals that we send out. But when you're on the playing field, you probably, I assume, all have a specific body language. So how do you differentiate, or do you have a different style that you would like to portray when you're in real life and then when you're on the athletic field with the nonverbal communication?
I think what I liked about the course was the message to be yourself and to not try to be anything else, just be yourself. And I was always, you know, standing in front of the camera or in front of the crowd, I would always think of the ways to behave for the crowd or for the camera or for the audience behind the camera. And actually that was the worst part, because it was stressing me so much that I would stand, you know, with my arms next to my body and like not moving at all. And just the thing of being yourself helps you to, you know, move freely, to, you know, you see my arm now, like I was really trying to explain something and my arm just starts moving, and that makes it a lot easier. So the message of being yourself is the most powerful one from the course, I guess.
Yeah, I like that a lot because I'm like that too, and sometimes I'm a bit too serious in talking and wanting to tell the things that I want. So sometimes I think a lot and that's not good. Also, I'm a bit hyperactive and go around in circles while I'm talking. But in athletics, I use technique to look calm while actually I'm not. And I'm trying to put that while I'm talking, so maybe you believe me that I'm really, really calm.
Yes, I would say, as Jakub, that to be original, to be truly yourself, it really helps. I would mention 2 things, that being on a field and being outside the field is 2 different things. For example, you can have a beast on the field like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, we all know who he is, and he is goofing around always behind the camera. So I would say that there is no one way so you can define how you act on the field and when you have the mic in your hands.
Perfect. Those were some great answers that we got. I know we're running a little bit over the schedule, but I think that this conversation is just great and we shouldn't be finished just yet. So I have 2 more questions for you guys. The one topic that I want to speak to you about is the moving from sports into, let's say, the real world or the life after sports. So Tomček, you have already done it. You're done with basketball. You're now in the world of work. And I always say that sports is the best work that you can do. So do your sports as long as you can. But unfortunately, sometimes this time needs to come. So what in the course have you found that, oh, I wish I had that when I was applying for a job?
Well, thinking about my first interview, I would say that I would need this course back then. I finished my basketball career when I was 25 at a young age. I didn't have any injury or so, but I didn't find myself reaching my life goals as being a basketball player. So at that age, I already had my degree. I have an economic degree. Banking management, so the shift was not that hard for me. So when I was 26, I was working in a financial sector, but definitely my first job interview was terrible because I didn't have any experience about being in private sector, you know, to express yourself. I was preparing for that interview only about the technical stuff. And what I found out was questions about yourself, your passion, or where do you see in 5 years, in 10 years. So I would definitely prepare well for my next interview if I have one. But it's coming with your life experience, your competence, you know. So after that I switch occupation like project manager in oil and gas industry. I was working in Africa for 3-4 years. So it's quite fun from sport career to transfer to financial sector, then oil and gas industry. Now I'm back into the first love into the sport. So I'm quite happy about it.
That's quite something. That's quite a story. How about you guys? Are you thinking that far ahead yet, or are you still concentrating on your career?
I can say for myself that I'm in that transition area right now, and actually it's hard. It's hard because when you're an athlete and you win medals and you feel like you're on top of the world sometimes, you build your sport ego, which is not good when you're in the real world, because people they say you're great, you win those medals, but no, if you need their help, they will be not there for you. And that's because this is who you are just from the sport. You need to be great person just in the real life. And you need to build your humanity, to show your expressions, and to give your heart to the people so they can sense it, and they can be your friends. They can, you know, you need to know how to tell the things to the people. And sometimes we, the athletes, don't want to learn because we think we know everything. When you take the course, you see that you don't know nothing. You have so many things to learn in life. And this is the most important thing for me, to understand that and to take it, so I can be a better human tomorrow.
Jakub, are you planning on jumping out of the water anytime soon?
Hopefully not. I hope I just had the surgery of my left shoulder just so I could sport maybe for another 10 years. So hopefully it's not going to be that soon. But I really loved what Tomče said about transitioning from basketball to financial sector to oil company and back, because I grew up in a family where my father would tell me, get a degree and that's going to get you a job. And I think this is a proof that degree is not the main thing, but the skills you acquire during the learning process or, you know, training process and everything like that. So it's about, I love that you actually use the skills from the sport and transitioned to the business side. And that's what I'm trying to do now, because, you know, in sport, and I think the same in business, you just have to set your goal and work really hard towards it. And that's how I'm trying to prepare for the life after sport now, to set some goals, maybe not so specific, so in terms of this is the job I want to do, but maybe some financial goals that I could do now and I could fulfill with the sponsorships and some other business aspects of sport, and try to set the base to the life after the sport.
Thank you very much. And the promised last question, since we're running out of time, you've spoken very highly about this course and we really appreciate it, but I think that as in everything, there's always space for improvement, and even this course has space to improvement. So if you could maybe each list one thing that you missed, or maybe could be deep dived into deeper, or something that we can do for the future to make even the course better for the other athletes, or even for us sitting in this room.
Well, I would actually mention the social media stuff, because in the last 3 years I tried to find as many sponsors as I could, so I could get some more money out of sport and provide for my family. And a lot of those sponsors didn't even care about the Olympic medals or about the results that I got on the water, but they would ask about what's my social media reach and how many followers do I have. And knowing that the social media topic is much more complex than what I found in the course, so I would love to see some more stuff about social media throughout every social platform.
Yeah, that's completely correct, and I've experienced it too, but for me, maybe the more important thing is to connect with more athletes. This is very important, and I know many athletes, and many who are my personal friends who need this course. And I think that maybe you should work with many athletes like us to promote it and to be more public, so the other athletes can take it too.
Thank you very much.
That's a nice question. Too bad that we don't have any time to discuss about this topic. Hopefully I'll be short. I would say that we gotta pay attention to social media, as Jakub said, because it will help you from your athlete career to when you get into the private sector. Why I'm saying that? Because it doesn't matter what you achieved like an athlete, because when you get to that job interview and when you sit on that chair, trust me, they don't care what you achieved, where you come from. Well, if you were Olympian athlete, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to lower your values, but there are people over there, they care about something else, about what you can do about their company, what you can do about their budget. So I would suggest that you gotta work on your social media, on your monetization, to really pay yourself on that success you had as an athlete. So the transformation into the real sector, and I think they will recognize you as an athlete, and then building on your soft skills. Because even though I have a degree, I think that the soft skills I had built during my basketball career helped me a lot than my hard skills, because I graduated maybe 2009, if I remember well, and from 15 years I've been working in financial sector only for 1 year. So that's why I'm saying the soft skills helped me a lot building on, and the hard skills are just to work for. So that would be my message.
Thank you very much, all three gentlemen. We're going to go back and we're going to take the note to work on the social media and enhance that part. Anyhow, we heard all throughout today how communication is important in athletes and how you should work on yourself and develop. And I think that also these gentlemen are proof that they're working on each other day in and day out. So again, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for participating. And the messages were amazing. Thank you so much.
Amazing. This has been really a great point of view from the eyes, through the eyes of the athletes, because we can never imagine what it is like to be a professional athlete. We have just a last presentation. Actually, it's not a presentation, it's more as a panel that is crucial for the end of this program today. It's going to be a roundtable discussion on the, just give me a second. Okay, our presentation is there, good. No, my papers are not here, but it doesn't matter. Let me just try. Okay, we need 2 seconds. But okay, meanwhile, we are fixing the PowerPoint presentation. I would like to tell you a little bit more about the moderator of the next session. This session will be moderated by a person with huge academic experience and the creator of EUNIC. EUNIC organization based in the Netherlands has been serving as a hub for many researchers and experts in the field of sports, and they have been developing digital solutions for sports organizations, sports professionals. And part of their success comes with their application that you can also download. The person who is going to present is Marcus Lopes, Dr. Marcus Lopes, who has been developing and writing scientific articles on the topic of dual careers. Throughout his career, he has also developed the first dual careers program for online students in Spain. So this is a person with huge experience in the field of dual careers. And to give you a little bit more information about the speakers and participants in this module, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Marcus Lopes. Please give a round of applause.
Well, thank you for staying for this roundtable discussion named Challenges and Perspective for Athletes in Career Transition. As you know, this is the last one, and it was supposed to be 30 minutes long. Many of you came before to me asking for more because this has been too short. So thank you for staying for the next hour and a half on this really interesting roundtable. That was actually not a joke. So with me will be Sandrine Billet-Oli. Sandrine is a Belgian, Cabo-Verdean judoka, participated in Tokyo 2020, and he worked as a postgraduate researcher at her alma mater, Ghent University, where she graduated in economics and marketing. Welcome. She is the development officer for Europe and Africa for the World Olympian Association, and she oversees the career transitioning of these athletes. Leila Marques is a Portuguese Paralympic swimmer with 4 participations in the Paralympic Games, former president of the Federação Portuguesa de Desporto para Deficientes, and is the current vice president of the Portuguese Paralympic Committee. Welcome, Leila. please. She is graduated in medicine and she has been practicing since 2005. And last but not least, we have my friend here, Sergio López Andújar Alonso, former professional futsal player. He played in several top teams in Spain, twice best goalkeeper in the league and several participations with the national team. And nowadays, he is the Secretary General of the Spanish Futsal Players Association. And he's a graduate in sports sciences. So please, Sergio.
This? Yes. Here's an Olympian.
Is it working now? Yeah, great. Thank you. So we are focusing on dual careers and communication, and one of the elements that has been proved to be one of the main barriers for coping is precisely communicating with the social support providers of the athletes. And I would like to start by asking you, Sandrine, about how was your experience communicating with your coaches, with your family, with your inner circle about this matter?
Thank you. Super interesting question, because for me that both touches on that communication part and also that dual career part. And I'm also going to answer it wearing like two different hats. So my World Olympians hat and then my personal judoka hat. So on the personal side, for me, I was really impacted by the experience that my grandmother had, which was she qualified for the Olympics back in her days, so she's now 94 years old. And so she qualified, and then she got tuberculosis, which was back in those days like also almost not curable. She survived, very good. But she remained very supportive for sports, and so she was one of my biggest judo fans. But she was always keeping me with my feet on the ground, like, hey, be sure, like, your sports career can be done in a second. Make sure that you have something else going on. So throughout my whole judo career, I've always been studying or working or doing things on the side. And in that, so on the one hand, I had the message from her that really arrived clearly with a very clear communication and a lot of examples. But it also inspired me to really take this dual career part serious, and to also take the communication around it serious, because we've been talking today a lot about PR, like public relationships, so yeah, social media and stuff. But a lot of having a successful dual career is also about, yeah, speaking with your coach, with your federation, also with your university. Like, if I'm not going to a training camp because I'm having some exams or something, I need to be able to like make this message clear to my federation, to my club. On the other way around, if I'm not at some classes or something, I need to because I'm training, I need to communicate this to my fellow students, to my to my professors. So that part of communication is so important. And obviously I made mistakes. Like a program like Athlete Speakers would have helped me a lot. So that's the one part. And then wearing the World Olympians Association hat, as I'm like responsible for Olympians associations in both Europe and Africa, I can see that people who have this dual career often have it a little bit easier in transitioning their career afterward, making that transition from being an athlete to not competing anymore. And so there, I think as international federations, we have, or organizations, and even national organizations or local organizations, even clubs, we have this responsibility to communicate with our athlete, like, hey, it is possible to have a dual career. It is possible to do something. And then as an athlete, you can say, oh, but I don't have, I don't have time to study a year long. And then as Ines said, and on the previous panel, like there are a lot of possibilities. I think again, with the social skills that we can learn, like, but we need to communicate these possibilities. Not everybody has a grandmother as I had, so yeah, that is a bit my input. I will just always give them now. Like, there's no excuses anymore. Just to go to the website of Athlete Speakers.
Thank you. What about you, Sergio? How was it while communicating with the club or the federation, and maybe when your interests were different as an athlete and as the coach or the club owner, maybe? How was it?
Well, first of all, thank you for being here still. For me, always, I was a goalkeeper. So unfortunately for my colleagues, I was always talking and sometimes shouting, shouting them about how to be there on the pitch. But about communication, I think is basic. Is basic, because at the end, I'm from a team sport, so it's very important to talk properly with your fellows, with your colleagues. These skills is very fundamental to use after that. In my situation, I was playing till 30s. After that, I start to work with other athletes, and it's for me was amazing, useful to have a previous athlete's life in the way to be closer to them, to how to communicate with them. This is fundamental. We previously with Ines and Paulo, we talk about that, how to manage this, to use the same pace, to use the same communication pace, to gather them and to give them to the place that you want to show to them, to show them these useful skills in terms of communication. Of course, these skills we can use in terms to, as a general secretary, or talking with my teammates, or talking with everyone. It's fundamental to have these skills in this situation. So, of course, this athletes speakers course, I should say that after several European projects, probably this is the best outcome that we have achieved. So it's very important at the end.
Great. What about you, Leila? What was your experience, and if you received any training in this area in communication from your NOC, from the federation?
No, so I started really young at swimming, as most of the persons with disabilities start very early in sports, because sports might help us deal with disability. That's the main reason why we engage with sports. And what happened to me is that when I was 10, I joined a club where there was already a Paralympic athlete who had won 2 Paralympic medals in Barcelona. So when I got there, I just tried to fit in, okay? Tried to fit in, and what was happening was that the coach was putting the training out, saying what we had to do, how we had to deal, how we had to behave ourselves. And at a certain point, I realized that that was not working for me at all, because I was getting miserable, I was getting unhappy. So as a young girl, I reached out to my parents, and they really told me that I had to speak out. And for the first time, I realized that how important it was to say how I felt at that point. And things completely changed after that point. So I wasn't good at it, for sure. I was struggling to say how I felt, how I was dealing with so much training. But by the age of 12, I thought that I was dealing already a little bit better with it, and results start to appear. But just later in time, I was given a training. So actually, just after finishing my career, so I had training with Carla Rocha, as well as so many Portuguese athletes that are here. I really love storytelling, and I'm amazed when I hear someone telling their story and they make us feel that we're there with them at that point. So Carla was one of the best in Portugal to do that, so I trained storytelling with Carla, and actually that made me help transition my career from sports to work, because I was at that point, and it really was the time that I completely felt that I was a little bit more Eve to talk in public and to express myself the correct way. So had a long way till where I am today. I'm still learning, like all of us here probably today. But as swimming was so a lonely sport that it is, that's why we say that we took a lot of time in the locker room, because we cannot speak at all while we're swimming. It took me a long time to learn how to express myself, to say exactly what I felt, what I needed, and that's the most important thing for a young athlete to be aware of. They have to be conscious about themselves, they have to know to express themselves, just not for media, just not for fans, but especially for that network that is around us and that can help us every day and will make more easy training and go through all the hard aspects of sports, as we all know we have.
Okay, and Sergio, back to you. What are the skills, apart from communication, what are the skills that you got from your athlete career that you are using nowadays in your role that is more institutional, that is representing the athletes, discussing with presidents, with other secretary generals? What are those skills that you thought that maybe at that time you were getting, but you didn't know that you will be using later on?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think I should say three. Empathy, because at the end you have to understand what they are saying and put the fits that they have, no, to understand everything, and listen a lot. It's simple, but it's not hearing, it's listening, and it's different, absolutely different. Because at the end, we have several common issues, common strengths, common even paths to develop different ways in our associations or organizations. And I always try to understand what they want. And to use the good governance, the good, how to say, try to find out how they develop the good things that I could use to my organization or to my development, to my personal development, how they do something, how do they express something. And for me, I think this is basic. I was in the previous question, I was thinking about I was trying always to listen to my old teammates, and this is very, very important. But not only with the good things, also with the bad things, to the do's and don'ts. And I was wondering always, I don't like it. I like how the captain or the player in the shadow that really have a nice leadership, how they develop this way to do it. So for me, in that situation now, I try to listen them, be empathic, and try to share good governance to always learn in that meaning. Yeah.
Thank you. Sandrine, I would like to ask, coming back to communication. Before it was mentioning, it was a colleague mentioning the use of Instagram and social media, no? But I would like to ask you about how now all these new channels that we have can be useful for the athletes to push their message, to get this advantage, instead of going through traditional media outlets like reporters, journalists, and so on. And if they are doing that, and if you, from your association, you are pushing them to do so, to create maybe their podcast, to create their brands, and to communicate more in order to have this bit for later on when they transition.
Yeah, I think it's a tricky balance that you need to find, both as an organization but also as an individual, because there's so much happening. Like as an athlete, you're training every day, twice a day or more or whatever, and then that's just your sport trainings, and you have other things as well, like I know physical preparation, all of these things around it. And then you have Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn, and like it adds up. If you want to do videos on YouTube and TikTok, like at some point I think it becomes a lot, And it's true, we need to be digital like there, but I do also see that some athletes like get a little bit, feel the pressure of, oh no, I did this today, so I also need to post about it and all of these things. And they already have like a lot to combine with their sports and their social life and maybe studies or other things. So sometimes I think you need to just also make choices. There's only 24 hours in a day. You also have only the energy that you have. But having a plan, making smart strategic decisions, I think preparing stuff helps. And I think as an organization as well, I think World Olympians Association, for example, and the National Olympians Associations, some are very active on social media, some are not. It also just depends on how much events you're doing, how much people you have working with you. So I think it's very, like, I can't really give a one answer. I think the key is really to customize things based on what is possible and the opportunities that come up. But it all starts with a good plan and a good strategy.
What do you think, Leila? Because maybe for Paralympians, sometimes they don't have enough attention. Sometimes media is more focused, let's say, on Olympic sports and the Olympic Games instead of the Paralympians. Do you think that they have a bigger opportunity now with this type of communication?
Yeah, for sure. They have to leverage tech. They have to use tech a lot. They have to make them present the most times they can. They have to use those platforms to show themselves, to show how they are, to show how their resilience, their capability, and to be an ambassador for the Paralympic movement and for others to see how they thrive. Like he was telling our Paralympic athlete on the panel before, is an example for sure for all the other kids that he connects with every day. So they have to be present. The Paralympic movement is doing a great job right now. We have plenty of campaigns going on internationally. And we have as well a campaign that I don't know if you all know, We the 15, because Paralympics are the elite athletes, but the main goal for the Paralympic movement is to create a safe place and an opportunity for everyone with disabilities. So this campaign helps to transfer the skills of Paralympic athletes to everyone that has a disability. So they have to be there. They have to expose themselves as more often as they can. But ideally, they should have a net to help them. They should have a National Paralympic Committee behind them to help, but we know it's tough, so the most they can.
And what's your role on that? So the National Paralympic Committee here in Portugal is doing something to help them transitioning, preparing them to finish their career or building their brands, or what's basically?
So we're working on that. So we're trying to get some plans. Now our vision is on mainly women with disability, because we really need to focus on women and women with disability especially, and we have to focus on athletes with high disability. We don't want just Paralympic movement to be a sports spectacle. Sorry, my English, but we need that the Paralympic movement still are able to embrace athletes with high incapacity as well. So we try to get to them, women with disability and athletes with a high incapacity. We try to reach them first, to help them first, because some of them have more difficult to deal with those platforms, to know how to do it, and we're trying to do that. And on the way, we help as much as we can the others as well.
Thank you very much. And talking about transitions, Sergio, we have talked about this before. We have been discussing in other events about that moment in which you need to say goodbye to the sport, you need to end your career, and sometimes it's referred to this as a situation in which the athlete dies twice because her careers ends, and then they need to move forward. In your case, you have a health issue during your career and suddenly you stop playing overnight. How did you deal with that? How did you communicate that with your to your teammates in the locker room, to your family, to the club? How did you go to the media and your sponsors maybe? And what happened after, because happily you went back to the games and to the court, and you went through that twice.
Yeah, exactly. I was remembering that, and it was a very impactful situation for me. Yes, in fact, I retired twice. Yeah, once, yes, once the first one was just before going to the World Cup, the Futsal World Cup. During the medical test, I was found this heart disease or problem, and the doctor said, "Sorry, but you are not going to go to the World Cup." I have to say that it was our second World Cup, World Champion tournament. So, but it was very, very tough, very difficult. And when she said to me that, I was like, what to say? Thank you. You saved my life. In that moment, I thought like that. Not in case I'm going to lose the best tournament that a futsal player can do, because unfortunately we are not Olympic yet. but yeah, it was really tough. But my first thought was, thank you. You saved my life. In terms that after that, I realized that thanks to go to that level, I was selected to be in that list to go to the World Cup, and I received this, and I was made this medical test, just with a very certain test that was discovered my problem disease. So I have to stop. And when you say, how did you talk to my teammates, it was a very, very difficult situation, because I had a problem with one of my fingers, and it was the excuse to wait. It was the excuse to don't say immediately, I have to stop, I have a problem. So for me, it was very important to ask to other doctors what to do, if for me it's a must to go to the surgery or not. So I try to earn a kind of 1 month more. At the end, I have to be face to face with my teammates, and I have to them, I have this problem. It's a very tough situation. I'm not going, because it was true. I didn't know if it was possible to go back to play or not, because it's only after the surgery if I can go back or not. Fortunately for me, it was good. The surgery allowed me to come back, and it was really very, very difficult, very difficult. I have a very big announcement of my problem, because it's true that it was a very good time for me as a player, and too much people was very worried about me, and it was very tough, very difficult. But at the end, it was maybe the very first situation to be in front of too much people, because it's true, during the games I was many times being interviewed and so on, but it was a very, very tough situation. After that, I came back, and that situation for me was really, really useful to try to be clear, to try to be calm, and try to transmit the thing that you want to do. I was thinking before, and Jose Ruiz, our president, I like to use this sentence that he used to use. He wants to use. He says always that it's not what I am talking about, it's what you are understanding to me, what I'm talking about. And this is, for me, this is very important. I try to transmit this situation in my twice retirements. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And thank you, all of you. I would like to open the floor for questions from the audience, because we might be finishing now. If there is any question, rather than Pedro. Another one? No? Only Pedro? Okay.
Hello, yes. Sandrine, since the first moment that your association was partner of this project, so I would like to know what would be your plans to help us to disseminate this project to reach worldwide athletes, because although it's a European project, our objective was always to reach the maximum athletes everywhere, and that's why we also translated the course in many languages, and we are still open if other countries want to also to translate. So this is my challenge to you. How can the Olympic Athletes Association support us?
You want me to do a public commitment? No, yeah, I mean, it's an awesome program. I mean, to want to disseminate it globally is just like a logical result of the quality. So I'm really looking forward to that. Honestly, we should contact Carla and ask if she has like a communication plan ready. But obviously, yes, I mean, there's lots that we can do on social media, even though I think our social media account of World Olympic Association should also a bit grow more. But yeah, the traditional things like on a website and mail out, these things are possible, or like not possible, but yeah, are going to be done. But it would be great to see also within, well, Europe as a continent, to have their more like national Olympians associations also being aware of the not only this program that has been happening, but also other initiatives, and to help to more have globally the continents working together. So that's something that I really, for myself, I hope that that's something that we can do more in the future, when it is allowed to have good programs to really make this globally work and not only a European thing. But yeah.
Can I, in our case, for example, we are not thinking about globally, but it's true, it's very, very important. We go really down, because at the end, every single futsal player, any sport player or athlete has a story and is going to be important, or maybe she or he is important in their own town. Simply like this, and he's going to be a reference, or she's going to be a reference. And we used to make many futsal camps during the summer or during winter, and it's very important that they have this kind of skills and go on, use this course, do this course, and try to use these skills, because it's going to be amazing. And not only with the very important athletes or with the national committees or so on, also for sure. But for us, we try to disseminate and give them this kind of skills or courses or whatever in a very important way. Here with me is also our PDM, Jose. PDM is a Player Development Manager program, and one of the most important things for us is, okay, you are affiliate to our association, but please do it. Because maybe they are not going to do or whatever, but at the end we have to tell them, please disseminate it, please do it, because at the end it's going to be a mouth to mouth. So for us it's very, very important, this path.
If I can just add on to it, and exactly that mouth to mouth is so important. And there I think, yes, virtually and online there's a lot that we can do, but we shouldn't underestimate the in-person events. Like we're now here, I think the networking event afterwards is awesome. For us, with the World Olympic Association, we had this Ollie House during the Paris Olympics. We're going to have an Ollie House again during the Italy Winter Games as well. So that gives another opportunity, aside from world forums and stuff, where great projects, best practices can be spread. And I think we've talked about storytelling, we've talked about people giving examples and stuff. I think that's still, yes, social media and stuff, but giving good examples, if it's online or in person, that says so much, and I think we should really invest in that.
Absolutely.
Any other question? Sylvia, please.
Yes, thank you. So this question maybe doesn't perfectly fit the panel discussions we're having right now, but I wanted to somehow connect it also with the first panel where we had Alexander Maestre. How do you pronounce Alex? Yeah, okay. So he was talking about athletes as a central core of sports and athletes movement, and how important is the freedom of speech and the freedom of expression. And here we are talking about, also in the past panels as well, about tell your stories, right? Be yourself, be authentic, and leverage your personal brand in order to communicate your beliefs, whether they are from religious or political capacity or format. So if you can all wear your personal hats, that's very important, yes. How do you think when we promote the motto, use your voice and tell your story, but at the same time, at the most important world competitions, athletes are not allowed to be themselves and share their voice and their stories? And we all come from sports background, even though we advocate for such change, it's very difficult to see it in practice. And there is an ongoing global discussion about the infringement of human rights, of freedom of expression, and the limiting capacity of some frameworks that we have at global stage. So from your personal point of view, do you think that those athletes that are being activists, because athlete activism is something that we are all proud of and celebrate, that we all celebrate sometimes, do you think that those athletes should be trained on how to be more diplomatic in the way they convey their message, or should we leave them as they are, authentic, powerful, and ready to initiate some global changes?
Thank you, Silvia, for the question, short question. Maybe Leila?
Sports diplomacy is a strong weapon, and we should all use it. So I think that athletes should not train their physical skills and mental skills, as well as they should be trained in international relations. That's one of the most important things right now. Athletes should expose themselves out there about who they are as an athlete, but I think it's most important at the time that we live that each athlete choose a cause and support that cause. If all of us do that, we will contribute to our society. And what we're talking about grassroots levels, so globally, but grassroots levels as well, we should get to our communities. We have to, through speech, through a really simple way to communicate, pass that to young kids through sports so they can learn to respect others, they can communicate with others, and that will avoid bullying and other kind of stuff that's going on schools. So that should be one of our main focus as athletes, as ambassadors. And right now, how world is going, as globally, choose a cause and support that cause for sure, but be trained how to talk about it, know what we're talking about, and get this training in sports diplomacy. I think it's most of importance.
Yeah, it's a very, very good subject to talk about. It's true, sport is diplomacy, sport is an example, sport is a way to give the values to the society. I think nowadays we are in a kind of point in the society, sometimes we are in a extremes, no? In very opposite points. So it's like, sometimes when you hear some statements, it's like, you are with me or against me. It's okay, wait a moment. Always we have to be, for sure, with polite, for sure, but always we have to be a good example. I was remembering now, I don't know if you saw the Ballon d'Or ceremony, when Rodrigo won the gold ball, he said at the end is to be a good person. At the end is a good example. We are, as you said, Leila, We are always in the media. We are always, many people are watching us. Many young people are doing the gestures that Ronaldo, Vinicius, any basketball player, and it's a kind of example, but they don't know what it means. But when you do something to everyone, it's okay. Okay, I got it. I can take it. I want this for me. It's not kind of I want this or I hate it. At the end, we have to use the sport as a value, as an example, as a good persons, and we have the key with this kind of courses to transmit that. We don't have to be always polite in terms of. I could say if in Spain, maybe I'm going to put my feet in the water. I don't know how to say the expression, but we have a very tough situation with 1 year ago with the woman World Soccer Cup, yeah, with the Spanish with the Spain team, and with the situation with the keys. I don't know if you remember with our president. Of course, we cannot allow it. If it's unacceptable. And in Spain, it was a kind of two rivers. If you have to accept or not accept. If I don't accept, it's a kind of, okay, you are against the president or against the, no, I'm not against anyone. I am against that kind of behavior. And this is not a proper behavior to be here. It's simple like this. So at the end, we are always be watching in this sport world. So we have to use it properly.
Yeah, short one. I'm just gonna quote Spider-Man. On a personal note, I think with great power comes great responsibility. And yes, be polite. It's not because you're polite that you lose your authenticity, but just take Sylvia's course on sport diplomacy. Take this course, so educate yourself. But I think pretty much everything, for example, that is in the IOC, in the Olympics Charter, that those like being like saying no to discrimination and stuff, like that's just what would ever be wrong to saying that out loud. So I think be bold and yeah, just how do you say it? Yeah, you're a role model and live up to it. So that I try to be short.
Thank you so much. We were waiting to quote Spider-Man, so I think that with this we can close the event. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sandrine, Leila, and Sergio. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for the beautiful conversation. Let me just go back to slide 1. Oh. Good. Okay, perfect. Let me take the mic because I'm also a little bit tired, but you can hear me here, maybe? Let's see. No? No? Thank you so much, Pedro. Fantastic panel. Thank you very much, Marcus, for moderating it and beautiful questions from the audience. Now, as we are closing the empowering athletes to find their voice in the transition beyond sports, I would like to share that this has been a great celebration of the event, a great celebration of the closing of the Athlete Speakers Project. We have explored how, with the right skills, mindset, and support, athletes can share impactful and fulfilling futures as leaders and role models. Thank you all for being part today. Thank you all for the beautiful discussions. Special thanks to all of the moderators, all of the guest speakers and panelists whose expertise and personal experiences have brought these conversations to life. Our sincere gratitude, of course, to Cascais municipality for hosting us to this beautiful center. I have been all of the time checking it, how it looks. It's such a beautiful building. And of course, I would like to say a huge thank you to Sport Evolution Alliance, for making this project live, for all of your team members who have dedicated their time and years of work to make it such a successful project. And of course, I truly hope that my moderating has kept you entertained, so maybe a round of applause. As we conclude, let's not leave today and here. First, I will be asking you to come for a group photo, and after that, there is a very special invitation from Sport Evolution Alliance for a cocktail in Hotel Baia, just right here, 8 minutes away. But for those of you who are not available to come, I'm sure that we will meet again soon in our mission to empower athletes to find their voice in transition beyond sport. Thank you very much. You're all welcome for a photo.
Follow our social media channels and stay tuned for the latest news.
This project is funded by the European Union.